Okay, I want you guys to see, right? I want you guys to take a look really carefully how both teams move, right? In fact, I don't just want you guys to see how both teams move. I want you guys to see two characters. I'm gonna make it easier for you guys. I want you guys to see how Fate and Void move, right? Just how Winston and D.Va move and hold space. So they're gonna move out. They're gonna TP, and they're gonna switch back. And here's the jump. So you see Void takes the left side, right? And Winston's gonna jump and land. And you can see immediately he moved to the right. So this is actually a set play. So this means that they actually they must have rehearsed this. This is where Void takes the left side and Winston takes the right side. So the reason why you want to play like this, right? Like why is Void playing over here and why Winston playing, like why isn't Winston playing over here, right? Why aren't the tanks playing over here? This will actually allow, right? This, first of all, it's easier for Winston to get healed. So the Ana holding this bridge, and this is generally the safest place for Ana to play. The reason why it's the safest place for Ana to play is because Ana can just back off into the mega health pack, right? So if Ana is healing, and let's say the enemy is playing dive, right? Let's say dragons commit, they jump in, and then they say, oh shit, the enemy is not playing death ball, they're playing dive, right? And dive plays really, really aggressively and dives the Ana. The Ana can just back off and get a mega. And even if you try to continue killing a mega, you have Brigitte to continue supporting. Also, you will have to push past a bridge. And of course, you know, it's very, very basic Overwatch where you know you never push through a choke. So if you are the enemy team, to access the Ana, not only you have to walk past Void and Winston, right? You have to walk past D.Va and Winston. You have to push into a choke, right? This little thing is the choke, this entrance of the bridge. You have to push past the choke. You have to get the Ana, and then you have nowhere to flank as well. If you notice, it's really hard to flank the Ana, right? Because the left side is just nothing, and then the right side is nothing. Both are just death for anyone that wants to flank. I mean, you will need to be a very specific kind of flanker. So the way Izayaki is playing is a very safe position for Ana, and it allows you to heal Winston from just an extremely safe position. D.Va is of course a little bit more in a more dangerous, risky position, but D.Va generally can protect herself with defensive matrix that is on a low cooldown. He has a booster which is also on a low cooldown. Generally, D.Va is just seen as like tankier than Winston, right? Even though both are tanks, D.Va is just seen as a tank that's a little bit tankier than Winston. So we have this like sort of triangle formation, right? To which wait, just can't click on that. We have this triangle formation that's very, 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 how do I say this? Very common in Lijiang, in KOF essentially, where you have one tank holding the right side, you have the other tank, D.Va, holding the left side, Winston and D.Va holding two different sides, and D.Va taking the more aggressive flank, and Winston holding the position that Ana can see. And they will hold this position, and while Fleta will continue poking. So Fleta's job is to continue poking. Lip's job is to play the exact opposite area where Fleta is playing, so probably around here or here, and pressure from the left. So essentially what you're getting is you're getting a pressure from the right, you're getting pressure from the left, and then your Ana is stuck in a very safe spot. Fuel, on the other hand, right, what they want to do is they want to push the Winston, right? This right is going to push towards the Ana, block the Ana heal, and try to pressure this Winston. They want to get Fate out of this area. And you can see, if I draw a line, let me draw a line. This is the line of the tanks, right? This is where Fate is playing, and this is where Void is playing. They're kind of trying to pincer Dallas Fuel, right? And then you have the supports healing them this way. So if I draw this line where this is the front line of Shanghai Dragons, and you notice that it is different. That the front line of Dallas Fuel, I'm gonna use red, it's more like a it's more like a straight line. It's more like a death ball. They're more compact. In fact, they're not even that far. It's more of like this. It's more like this. You have like Moira over here, so I'm going to draw a circle for Moira. But generally, most of the bulk of the force, right, it's over in this small rectangle. You also have a Sigma, so let's extend this zone a little bit. So you have this ball, right? That's why you call it a death ball. And then you have Moira playing a little bit more a little bit further away from the team. But generally, you have this. But if I draw a line for Shanghai Dragons, you have one tank over here, and then you have supports over here. So if we connect all the dots, right, we connect all the places that are playing, you see a more of a triangle, right? You see more of like a control over the area. So what this red thing will try to do is you can see if I erase this red, you can see the one furthest in the red will be the Reinhardt. The Reinhardt's going to try to push the Winston. You almost always push the Winston because the Winston has it essentially is less tanky than the D.Va. That once the Winston burns his jump pack, no bubble, dive is useless. It's actually just useless. They're not dangerous at all. Right, so all these people, totally not dangerous. Like literally, you go from 100 danger to 0 danger. The moment Winston has no jump pack, or maybe not 0, but like it's like very low. It's like one out of 100 danger. If like 100 out of 100 is like fucking you're gonna lose the next second, 1% is like nothing. But if you look at Fuel, right, Fuel it's always gonna be dangerous because Sigma can do a lot of burst damage. Doha can right click someone, can right click the Ana twice, and then they can die, and then they just have a lot of damage. But their damage is focused. But dragons, literally, they need the Winston. Right, Fuel need to play together as a death ball, but dragon, all their damage is based on whether Winston has jump pack or not. If Winston has no jump pack, their dive is useless. If Winston has jump pack, then there is a threat. So essentially, dragons need to make sure that they hold the jump pack as long as possible to threaten Dallas Field. They don't even need to jump. Like Fate doesn't even need to jump. He just needs to hold this position as long as possible to threaten. And it's kind of hard to explain because it's hard to explain why you don't want to jump. Because if you jump, you die. But if you don't jump, you threaten the enemy team that you can jump any moment. So Fate's going to hold this area where the Ana can hold, and he's going to hold this as long as possible, so that holding as long as possible allows Fuel to think, oh, they might jump. They're probably not going to jump, like 70% chance they're not going to jump, but they might. They might, and they need to force Shanghai Dragons out of this mysterious threat where they might or might not jump. So they're gonna focus down Fate. We're gonna take a look at Fate POV. You can see they're just gonna focus down Fate. Most of the damage is gonna come from Symmetra. Symmetra is gonna shoot a little tricky turret over here. And they're gonna try to push in, right? And they're gonna swing this way. They're not just gonna push right, they're gonna swing to the right. So it's gonna be a little bit more dangerous for the end. I can see Izaki is actually stepping back a little bit, right? He's not pushing up to help his tank. No, he's gonna step back a little bit because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So you see he's stepping back slightly. He's not standing in the middle of the bridge, right? He's stepping back slightly. It's dangerous. He can't play too far. And they're gonna isolate this Winston. Fate burns his bubble. You can see Fate is not even jumping immediately. He's holding his jump until the last moment, right? He gets booped, and this is really the last moment. Like, how much HP does he even have? He has like fucking 70 HP, and the last moment he jumps back. So Winstons are always going to do that. They're going to hold all the way until the last moment, and they jump. And the longer you hold, the worse position Fuel will be. If you look at Fuel position, right? Fuel is now in this little choke area. I mean, they're not going to die, obviously, because they have Moira healing them. But they're in a worse position. They're in like sort of like a weird position than just now, because just now they were holding this entire area, right? And now they are in this weird little position, and then they have to say, oh, we can't stay here because obviously we are giving up a lot of space. We can't just hold in this weird little choky area, right? They have to sort of slowly, because they are very slow comp, they have to slowly swing their way back into point. So essentially what we have just seen is how these two compositions is moving. One composition wants to hold sort of like this big ass area to threaten the enemy team, and what the other team, Deathball, wants to do is to sort of push the Winston and then slowly, like a turtle, slowly move into the right side, and they'll try not to take as much damage as possible. So pressure Winston, move to point. That's almost always going to be the start of Deathball. Hey Mitch, thanks for the party, the raid. Thanks for follow Lupin the third. Admin mode, Pox safe. Thanks for the follow. What are you doing here? Do you like Fuel teleporting to courtyard, or will you have teleport to window? I kind of like that you can contest pillar and deny the dragon space to stage by teleporting to courtyard. As in, okay, we can go back to that. Sorry, my bad. I didn't see the question. So we're gonna move back a little bit. You like to have teleported to window? Oh, you mean teleporting to this window? Okay, so the thing is, you generally don't want to. That's a good question. Let me think. No, you don't want to teleport to window. Yeah, because the thing is, right, you don't want to stay in this area so early. You don't want to play in this area so early. You essentially don't know what they're playing, right? They could be playing Pharah, they could be playing any composition, and there are some composition where playing inside is just not that good. Like if you play inside, it's just not that good. You want to start playing inside when the point is open. So you want to start playing inside, let's say about like less than 15 seconds. So less than 10 seconds, you start playing inside with less than 10 seconds. You know that even when they start poking you, because they will start poking you, you will be able to capture the point. Because the moment is once you're playing inside, right, you can no longer rush out. Like you can no longer be a danger to anyone. I'm going to show you what I mean. So later you see they force Shanghai Dragons back. And now it's like 14 seconds, 13, so they want to play in point, right? They play slowly. They're gonna play in point. See, once you start playing in point, it's much easier to get wrapped up. So it's much easier for Shanghai Dragons to wrap the entire thing up because you're literally playing in point, and it's much harder to rush the Winston. Because if you notice, how do you rush the Winston? No matter where the Winston play, right, it's so risky to rush out. If you try to rush the Winston, you get flanked from a million different angles. So let's say you rush the Winston, you can get flanked from here, you can get flanked from here. So you can get, essentially you can't rush the Winston anymore. So playing on point, essentially you're literally saying, I want to turtle. Right, I don't even want to fight anymore. The moment you enter, if you're not in the point yet, you want to fight. You are able to fight, you can pressure the Winston. But the moment you rotate in point, you're saying, I can't pressure anyone anymore. I just want to capture the point. So most of the time, you'll see teams just rotate into point where it's like under 10 seconds, right? Then they rotate to point. If you rotate to point too early, the problem is that you'll start taking poke damage because the enemy will just wrap you up, right? They'll start wrapping up very early, and which is exactly what Dragons is doing. You'll see Tracer playing all the way from the left side. You'll see D.Va trying to flank. You'll see Winston playing from main. You see Fleta playing from here, and then there's no way that Sigma Shield and Reinhardt Shield can cover everything. So Dallasfield is going to choose the very last second to enter the point and capture the point. The second thing we were talking about was Fuel rushing the Winston, right? And essentially they have one chance to kill, and they have to retreat back to defense mode. So we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to look at Fearless. So Fearless is holding the point right now, right? Essentially, Dallasfield has two choices here, two options. Option 1, hold the point and turtle. Essentially hold the point 24/7, never step out of the point, and just capture the point, hit anyone that enters the point, and force them out, and just capture the point and just turtle as long as possible. Sooner or later, you're probably going to lose because your shield will break, and once your shield break, and once Sigma shield break, the Ana can land a nade, the Ana can land a sleep, right? Void can maybe land a bomb if your shield breaks. So over time, essentially Fuel will lose the fight if they turtle. But Fuel can get a lot of like point control. They can get a lot of point percentages. That's option 1. Option 2 is to rush the Winston, try to kill the Winston, and then retreat back to point. Or if you kill the Winston, you can just kill the whole team. So essentially option 2 is like a more aggressive option. Generally teams will go with sort of option 2 if they see an opportunity. So Dallasfield is going to see an opportunity to rush the Winston here, and I'm going to show you guys the opportunity. So we're going to look at Fearless, and we're going to see that here we go. That's the rush. You can see Fate once again drop to half HP, and he escapes, right? So that is essentially that one chance that Fuel is going to take. They want to rush the Winston, force the dive comp backwards, try to kill the Winston, and we are going to look at Fate POV. And after that, go back to point and capture the point. Because remember, once Winston has no jump pack and no bubble, what did we say? We say that Shanghai Dragons dive comp is worthless, right? So they can finally they can essentially waste time and try to kill the Winston. So they're rushing the Winston. Fate has no choice but to jump. I think it's a good thing he didn't burn bubble, but he has no choice but to jump. So Fuel's going to capture the point, and this is when they're going to turtle. So this brings us to the second topic of my notes, which I wrote transition. So when you play Death Ball, you have two modes you want to transition from, right? The first mode is attack. This is where you rush the Winston, or rush whatever you want to rush, because you are Death Ball, right? The reason why you're called Death Ball is because, the reason why it's ball is obvious, right? It's ball because everyone sticks together. But the reason why it's death is because when you stick together and you rush one person, only death awaits, essentially, right? It's implying that if you play very well, if you stick like a ball well enough, if you call correctly and you rush the correct target, right, then death will follow. That's why it's called Death Ball, right? It's not called fucking squishy ball because it's not a squishy comp. It's not called tanky ball. Okay, that maybe those are bad analogies, but essentially it's Death Ball because it's very effective at bringing death, right? And this has been a very effective comp for the past few years. So when you attack, you rush a target, but you can't always rush, right? You rush when you have the Lucio speed boost, you rush when you have the Reinhardt shield, and you rush when Fearless HP is very, very high. But at a certain point in time, you have to stop rushing. You can't rush forever. There's no such thing. So when you stop rushing, that is Death Ball's weakness. So when you rush as Death Ball, that is Death Ball's strongest. But when you transit and you have no more cooldowns, you use cooldowns, right? You use cooldowns. And when you transit, right, and you have no more cooldowns and you can no longer attack, this is called the transition. And this is the second thing we're going to talk about, the transition. And this will be turtle, or I mean, we can call it defense. Defense. And this transition is where this team is weak to being attacked. They're weak to being flanked, they're weak to being a lot of things. Because if you look at it, right, where is the best place for fuel to turtle? It's in the point. The point is the best place for them to turtle, to stay in their shell, because it's the hardest place to flank. Right? It's the hardest place for Tracer to flank. It's the hardest place for Winston to jump in, because it's hard for him to jump out, because he might hit the ceiling, he might clip the pillar. It's just very risky. There's just not much spaces. There's no high ground for him to jump back onto. So this is the best place to defend. But if they want to attack, right, then they have to push out of their defend place, and they have to attack, and that's what they did, right? They attack, and then now they're over here. But if they want to go back, that's what we call transition. They're stuck in a place, they're stuck in their attacking position, but they can no longer attack, which means they can no longer W key. And they're not anywhere close to defend. So they have to slowly move back in. So this is the part where Fuel is in their weaker state. Fuel wants to transit, and this is the one that separates good dev ball team and bad dev ball team, right? Since your transitioning state, right, the transition state is your weaker state, you want to spend the least amount of time transitioning from these two states. You want to go from attack, and you want to spend as little amount of time as possible and go straight to defense, right? You want to literally, I mean, the perfect way you go attack, transition, defense, attack, transition, defense. But then most of the time, for not so good teams, or at least teams that are making a mistake, they'll go attack ends, transition, you know, they're doing nothing, they're standing around, defense. And if you take a long time to transit into your optimal position, that's when you die. That's essentially when you die. So Gautism, yes. So essentially, Discord. Okay. Wait, let me see. Is there any questions? Okay, yeah. So essentially, what we're gonna take a look is essentially Fuel making a mistake. So we're gonna see, right? I'm gonna say a little bit of a spoiler. Shanghai Dragon is gonna win the fight very quickly, and it's gonna be because Dallas Fuel has spent too long transitioning. So we're gonna take a look, right? We're gonna just watch the fight, and you see they're not back yet. What they want to do is Reinhardt to play like that, right? The best possible position for Death Ball to play is for, I'm gonna try to look above. Is for, let's go down a little bit. It's for Reinhardt to play like they want to play around here. They want to play around here. Maybe the Reinhardt can push out a little bit left and right, but they want to use this nice pillar, this nice cover to hide from the enemy outside. But they're not in that position yet. They are in the middle of nowhere. And Dragons, of course, Dragons is a dive team, and I think Dragons has one of the strongest points for Dragon is that they always play very aggressively when they see an opportunity. So they're gonna dive and then go straight in when they're still transitioning, right? And they're gonna kill Sparkle. And this is the part that I want you guys to look at. I want you guys to look at Fate POV, because Fate is essentially how you should play as a Winston. Your job as a Winston is to find the opportunity, is to stay alive. Your job as a Winston, essentially you have multiple phases. You want to threaten the enemy. From threatening the enemy, and the enemy pushes you because you are essentially showing too much threat. So they push you, you have to fall back. Your job is to, after you fall back, you need to constantly look for opportunity. It doesn't mean that you fall back, you have no cooldown, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna slack until I get my jump and bubble back. No, you're constantly positioning. Even when you have no jump pack, you're putting yourself in the position that the moment you have jump pack, you can make the play, you can make the opportunistic play. So we're gonna look at Jay play, because I think this is a really Fate is a really good Winston. And I want you guys to take a look at how he watches for opportunities. So he's running, he's running, right? He's dodging. He walks in again. He zaps. He's threatening. Zaps. Threaten. And now he plays. So he was playing around this thing, right? He was using this wall to zap. And now he's pushing forward. Why? Because the enemy is no longer in attack phase. Just now the enemy was over here, right? So he can't just jump. The enemy is in attack phase. He might die. So he has to play really passive. But the enemy has transited into defense phase, right? Now they are just turtling into point. So he can play more aggressively, and you will see he plays out. Right, so the enemy is like, you know what, this fucking Winston is playing aggressively again. You can see enemy Winston, he's playing as upfront as he can, threatening to jump. So Fearless is like, this motherfucker, this Winston is just hiding. I'm going to rush the Winston. So he's going to rush the Winston. And Faye's job is to make sure that he's still threatening, zap, wait for the last second, and jump. So he gets out, and he's still alive, right? And this doesn't mean that he slack off. He can't slack off. The point is, with this, Fate has to make sure that he can jump as quickly as possible. So Izaki at this point in time is probably saying, I have nano. So Fate has to start watching for opportunity. That means he can't just hide. He has to stand in this specific position, and look at where the Sparkle is. He needs to look at where Sparkle is so he can kill the Symmetra. He can land on the Symmetra with his jump back and kill the Symmetra. Or, failing that, he needs to do as much damage as possible to the Sigma, to the Moira. He needs to force the Moira to fade. If he can't kill the Symmetra, he needs to force the Moira to fade, so it's easier for Fleta and Lip to kill the Moira, because a Moira without fade is a dead Moira. So he has many jobs, right? The best possible thing for him to do is to kill Sparkle within one jump. Burst Sparkle down with his nano boost. The second best thing is he doesn't kill anyone, but he forces as many cooldowns as he can. Force Moira to fade. Force Mei to ice block. These are the things he want to do. And if he jumps them during the transition phase, before Fuel makes it to point, he is going to either kill someone or he's going to force cooldown. So we're gonna slow it back down 0.7, and we're gonna watch Fate POV, right? So Fate is watching. And he sees, Fuel is not entering point yet. They're not even entering point. So he's going to jump he's going to get Nemo, and he's going to jump right into the middle of the pack, because you can see Fuel is together, right? And right now they are together, and essentially Shanghai Dragon is wrapping them up. And then Fate is going to jump right in, hits, and you can see he's aiming. Who is he aiming for? He's not aiming for the Symmetra, he's aiming for the Mei, hoping to force the Ice Block, and he's aiming for the Symmetra. In fact, his main target is probably the Symmetra. He wants to kill the Symmetra. And the thing is, Moira can't heal the Symmetra, because Moira is getting zapped as well. This is also one of the reasons why Moira was playing at an off angle in the early game. Because if the Winston jumps the backline and jumps for the Symmetra, at the very least Moira can heal the Symmetra. But if the Moira and the Symmetra stands together, which you can see right here, Moira is in Fate, but if the Moira and the Symmetra stands together, the Moira cannot heal the Symmetra when the Symmetra is getting jumped, because the Moira needs to stay alive as well. So right now, the only thing that Fielder is thinking is, I don't want to fucking die. So he has to back off. He's healing, but his main priority is to back off. And hence, Sparkle is going to die, because they are standing together and they are not in the point yet. If they are in the point, it's going to be hard for the Winston to jump the Moira, right? Probably what's going to happen if they are in the point is what you'll see. What you'll see is you'll see the Reinhardt standing over here. You will see Symmetra standing over here. You'll see Moira standing somewhere over here. The Winston jumps the Symmetra. Symmetra starts moving back. Moira can heal the Symmetra easily from a position that's not directly in line of sight with the enemy team. But in that case, because they're still moving back into point, right, Symmetra is going to get fucked, and Moira has no way of stopping because they're essentially not in their defense position. Oh shit. Oh, make me drink water? Demented. Right here. I'm so sorry. Fate is very good. I mean, I think Fate is a good Winston. I'm sure they saw like mistakes, but I believe Fate is a good Winston. This specific match, it wasn't bad. I mean, main tank is like this position where, I mean, I know this is like a cliche, right? But main tank is essentially a position where it's hard to perform well if your teamwork is bad. So I didn't say your teammate is bad, because in Overwatch League, right, a lot of occasions in Overwatch League, I can't do this. In a lot of occasions in Overwatch League, your teammates are actually quite good, but the teamwork is bad. At least in the 2 years I've been in Overwatch League, right, there are many occasions where there are conflicts, disagreements. No, even if like people like each other, there are disagreements with strategy, maybe disagreement with other players, or whatever it may be, or maybe you just don't like the style, or maybe we made a mistake in our strategy, or what the coaches made a mistake in their strategy. Whatever the case, a lot of times the Overwatch League players, generally speaking, a lot of times Overwatch League players are good. They're good, full stop. I mean, there are some that are better than others, but generally Overwatch League players are just good, full stop. The problem is that the teamwork might not be there, and that's when main tank starts to look like shit. Because the main tank doesn't look good when their teammates are good. The main tank only looks good when teamwork is good. So you could look at the diamond game and then everyone's listening to the shot call. Suddenly the tank looks like he's a fucking spear cutting through the mass of chaos. Even a diamond or like a low rank game, like a gold level game or a bronze level game, right? The thing is, even if it's a bronze level game, if someone says, let's push, and then the Reinhardt push, and all the other teammates listen to the Reinhardt and they push, the Reinhardt looks like a fucking god because everyone dies when the Reinhardt swings and everyone's supporting the Reinhardt. So the main tank essentially look good based on teamwork and look bad when also based on teamwork. So if you say Fate is bad, right, we have to sort of like see whether the mistakes that he's making is like, we have to see the context behind the mistake he's making. If let's say his five other teammates are playing like really well and are working with each other with like nice sleeps, nice heals, nice rotation, and the main thing is just fucking doing shit, then I mean sure, right? But then the main tank is bad. But if the teammate is playing like crap, and then we see the main tank making mistakes, that could just be because he doesn't trust his teammates, or he trusts his teammates too much and he's dying because of the lack of heals, because the support is not like respecting the main tank pushing in and choosing to heal someone else because of the lack of teamwork. So that's the hard part, you know. That's the hard part in seeing whether a tank is good or not, right? It's very easy to see it. Say a tank is bad, but we need to look at the context. And more than ever, more than anything else, the context is more important to see in the main tank. Because as an NR, you can see the sleeps, the aim, the tempo, blah blah blah. But as a main tank, you can only look at decision making with the context of his teammates. I think a lot of the shit towards Fate is comparing him to Fearless. Didn't think anyone thought Fearless was as good. Exactly, Blur. Exactly. If we talk about Shanghai Season 1, we thought Fearless was, of course, complete crap, right? But Shanghai Dragons Season 1 wasn't even like an insanely bad team. Like, their players wasn't even like fucking bronze, you know. Their players were like not the worst. It's just that the teamwork was absolutely like dog shit. Like, it was just absolutely mediocre and absolutely horrendous. So we will never be able to see whether Fearless is good or not based off his teamwork, because they didn't even meet the minimum benchmark where we can start to gauge the tank. Anyway, let us continue. So, Fate has the Nano, and Fate kills the Symmetra. So, back to, for those that just entered the stream, right, we were talking about Fate playing well, and we we're talking about how Dallas Fuel is Death Ball, and essentially Death Ball transit from playing aggressively into playing very defensively. So you're kind of like a pendulum, very aggressive, very defensive, very aggressive, very defensive. And when you're playing from very aggressive into very defensive, how fast you can switch between two modes will essentially tell us how good you are as a Death Ball comp. So Shanghai Dragon is gonna win, and this, if you take a look at your notes, right, the notes that I put in Discord, the supplementary notes, I hope you guys are using. The next part you can see, let me show you guys where we are right now. So we talk about Style and Wincon, and these are the notes I put in Discord and on Twitter. We talk about transitioning, where Death Ball essentially transits from one mode to another. That we saw Dallas Fuel rushing Fate. We saw that they had one chance to kill Fate. We saw the Mei ice walling, right? We saw them rushing Winston. They really, really want to kill the monkey. They failed, and they need to retreat back into defense mode, and we saw that too. Oh, I wrote that Sparkle POV, so we're gonna take a look at that. And then of course we saw that Dallas Fuel lost Sparkle. So I'm going to show you Sparkle POV, where I'm going to show you that Sparkle was. I'm going to slow it down to 0.75 so it's easier. So okay, I'm going to keep pausing every time Sparkle switches mode. Okay, so Sparkle is in defense mode right now. He's playing passively showing, and Sparkle is playing. This is attack mode. Right, attack mode. You see the three main DPS. The Reinhardt, because Reinhardt is a DPS as well with his hammer. The Mei, who's left clicking the Winston, and Sparkle is just pushing up. They're trying to kill this Winston. This is attack mode. This is when Death Ball is the strongest, right? Jecse is, I think he's using his speed boost. You can see, okay, he's using his heal, but I'm assuming he's going to swap between speed and heal accordingly, because I'm assuming he's on heal because they are already able to hit the Winston, but when they are pushing the Winston, he will have used speed at the start. So this is attack mode. They want to kill the Winston. You can see Doha use a Mei Ice Wall, right? Hoping to... This is essentially not a Mei Ice Wall to block. This is not a Mei Ice Wall to block the... What's it called? To block the Winston. This is a Mei Ice Wall to block the Ana heal. They don't want the Ana and the Brigitte to heal the Winston. So this thing is not to block the Winston jump. It's to block the heal. And they're trying to burst down the Winston as quickly as possible. And they are not succeeding. And they're not even close because we saw that Fate didn't even use his bubble. So he was not worried. He was not worried at all. And this is very important because if they forced Fate to use his bubble here, Fate wouldn't have been able to jump so soon. We are going to take a look at Sparkle first. So this is attack mode, right? So they failed the attack. Essentially right now they have failed the attack. Fate has essentially escaped his fate. Get it? Okay, sorry, that was not funny. So Fate escaped his fate. And Death Ball, it's just not Death Ball, it's like, I was gonna say live ball, but that's also not very funny. I'm sorry. I'm not firing on all cylinders today. So Death Ball is essentially failing. They're not very deadly right now, and Fate is gonna survive. He's gonna run away. And Sparkle at this moment and Fearless, you can see Sparkle is in the front line. If you look at the line, right, Sparkle and Doha is essentially standing in front of the Reinhardt. And at this point in time, they need to think, okay, our attack has failed. We don't want to W key anymore. This is the moment where we move back. And at this moment, right, this moment is what? 1 minute and 8 seconds. They need to start fucking backtracking into point. Because they know that Winston is going to get nano soon. So how they have literally 5 seconds to move back to point. If they don't move back to point, this nano Winston is going to have bubble and it's going to be able to access the backline very easily. But if they move back to point, at the very least they can use this pillar to play, right? They can use this nice fat pillar that we use so often when we play our rank game in Lijiang. He could use this. There are many places for them to kite. They could kite all the way back here. They could kite all the way. They could fall further back if Sparkle wants. But most of them they'll just play around the pillar. But Sparkle is still in attack mode, so we're gonna look at Sparkle POV because I wrote that we should look at Sparkle POV, and we're gonna look at him transiting from attack into defense, and he's still on attack. And the countdown has started, right? Fate has 5 seconds to his jump. It's 3 seconds now. Let's take a look at Sparkle. He goes back. We're going to go look between Fate and Sparkle. Right? Sparkle goes back. He's still on attack mode. They haven't retreated back into point. All these players are still trying to hold the choke, right? And then the countdown continues to tick. 2 seconds, and they're close to nano jump. And they're setting up. Fleta is holding a wide angle. Instead of Fleta playing a more narrow, safer angle, Fleta is pushing up wide so that when Winston jumps, he's going to have the best angle of his life. And the danger is coming, but Fewer doesn't realize, and they are still poking the choke. And they're slowly falling back. They're starting to realize Sparkle is moving back, but it's too late. Fate has jumped, and he's going to jump in, and Sparkle is going to get his ass cheeks clapped, right? He's just going to die. He doesn't even have time to set up the turret. Like, he doesn't even have time to set up the turret for the jump. He would have had time, right, if they were already in defense mode, but they weren't. So they were still holding here, and that 1-2 seconds, right, even that 2 seconds was too much time. They wasted that opportunity. They did not play on point, and Fuel's going to get fucked, right? Fuel's just going to straight up get fucked. And you can see Fuel is trying his best to coalescence and trying to keep his team alive, but this coalescence was supposed to have his DPS, because if you drop Sparkle as the DPS, you have lost 1 DPS, and your other DPS is not really a DPS, right? Mei is not really a damage dealer per se. Mei is more of like a support damage dealer. He's like a crowd control character. The job of the Mei is to slow and sort of make it annoying for the enemy team. Sort of like freeze, slow the enemy team. Doha doesn't have a lot of damage. So when you drop Sparkle, you no longer have the focus fire that Death Ball is famous for, right? The Death is no longer deadly. The Death Ball is no longer deadly. And that is really, really important. Sparkle going down first essentially clinches the loss for Fuel. If Doha went down, it's still not so bad, but Sparkle going down is essentially just GG for Fuels at this point in time. And not only are they going to lose, they're not even going to be able to store the point for or as long as they are going to like. If I upload these stream VODs into YouTube, can you link the notes in the description? Yeah, sure, of course, definitely. Thank you for the follow, XD Hidden. He's back. Don't worry, Allah. Can I ask about the Sim TP usage in fights? Sure, yeah. Which one? Speaking of time, it's been an hour and the point at 3%, so you're 1.5 hours. Fuck. Well, it's definitely not happening. It is the first round review. Of course, classic. God damn it. Alright. Yes. That's not gonna happen. On track as usual. God damn it. Alright, yeah, you're right. The dream is dead, guys. The dream is dead. So Sparkle loses, right? And yeah, so but we have completed. So if we're gonna tick, right, we have let's minus. Okay, so there's 3 pages, and on the first page we have ticked this. We have successfully covered this. We have covered this. We have covered this. Right, requirement of pillar due to best cover. We have covered that. Sparkle POV, we have looked at it. We have looked at how Sparkle got his ass clapped, right? So that's done. And we're gonna look at this. So let's see what we write in the next part of the note. You know, we're gonna take a closer look. Let's zoom in. Right, let's zoom in. I wrote Sparkle swap, which we'll look at. We'll look at Doha out and Han Bin out. So we're gonna take a look at that as well. So back into the fight. Hi John, how are you? I'm great, Peros Stoica. How are you doing? First fight, Sparkle rush and try to put the TP on the bridge. Oh, this one, right? Where Symmetra, he put the TP right here, right? Like right, let me try to find right here. So okay, this one is the part that I'm not super duper sure. I can speculate, but I'm not 100% sure. Sorry. I thought that this what's it called? This TP was for them to rush the Anna and the Brick. Cause generally I say that fewer can rush the Winston, right? But they have another option where they can rush the Brigitte. But you don't always do that because the Brigitte is always playing in a position that's very, very safe. So I think right here, and I'm not very sure because I could be wrong, but I think it's most likely that they wanted to rush the Brick and the Anna, but they miscommunicated and they rushed the Winston instead. So they put the TP and then they say no, you know, Winston. So I think the Symmetra says Brick Anna, and then they switch the target call to Winston. Actually, we can check. We can look at Sparkle. Normally, if you look at Sparkle POV, if he's been looking at the Brigitte before he presses his TP, that means he wants to rush the backline. So we can slow it down. We can see. Oh, okay. I see why. You know why? Because he saw the Anna. Because normally the Anna plays like, remember I told you the Anna plays safe and it's hard to rush, but the Anna is like playing over here. So he essentially wanted to put the TP behind the Anna or next to the Anna, and then they wanted to rush the Anna. You could actually see Sparkle looking at the Anna. I think that was the call made by Sparkle. And then essentially Dallas Fearless countered, essentially Fearless probably counter caught and went for the Winston, caught the Winston instead. You can see right here, Sparkle is looking, like, you can see he sees Izaki right here. You can see he's looking at Izaki POV, right? So he has both Winston and Diva over here, and he sees the Izaki. So I think Sparkle saw that opportunity and he slapped the TP. Yeah, he slapped the TP right next to the Anna, and he slaps the turret. Oh no, not turret. So what am I saying? He just slaps the TP essentially, and then they want to rush. I think Reinhardt was looking at the rush as well. You can see Reinhardt like looking to the right. He's not even swinging the left side. He's looking at the Anna. He's hoping to block the nade, block the sleep, that sort of shit. But I think Fearless is going to go back for the Winston instead. He goes around the wall. He goes for the Winston, and then Sparkle says, "You know what? Yeah, you know what? You the boss, man." And then he goes for the Winston instead. And then they're gonna commit everything, the main wall, everything. They're gonna commit the Winston instead. I'm not sure whether it would have been better to rush the Anna or the Brick, but definitely it was a possibility. They had speed boost still. They're speed boosting for the Winston, so that's a possibility. Isn't that dangerous against Anna because of nade? I mean, generally it's dangerous against Anna no matter what happens, but they do have the Diva, and you're Death Ball. Like, you can't be scared, you know. Like, the whole point of Death Ball is that you have to sort of manage your risk. You have to find one single timing where the risk is the lowest and make the call to rush, right? Because if you think about it, the Anna might nade, the Anna might sleep, because you have you don't have Diva defensive matrix, but you have Sigma defensive matrix, like Sigma, I can't remember what is it called, but Sigma has its own defensive matrix as well, and Sigma has its shield, so it's not easy to land. Generally, it's not easy for Anna to land sleep and nade against 2 shields, so it's very possible for them to rush the Anna. But they obviously changed and went for the Winston instead. I don't know which is better. Both would have probably been fine, though I think the chance of Fate dying is just extremely low. It's just extremely low because they don't have Zen, and it's just not enough damage. Like, it's hard to kill the Winston in like less than 2 or 3 seconds if you don't have a Discord op. So I think Fate escaping here was not that Dallas Fuel played badly, but their composition just simply did not have enough damage to rush the Winston. If they really wanted to rush, maybe the brick would have been better. Yeah, maybe the brick. But hindsight is 2020, right? Now we can see that rushing the Winston failed. So I'm saying that rushing the brick is better, but it would have been dangerous as well. Jongo, hey, undercover as Melon. What's up? 24-hour stream to finally reach point 2. Kinetic Grasp. That's it. Sorry. The name eludes me. Alright, let's continue. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. I'm glad, thank you. That means a lot. Yeah. So Shanghai Dragons beat the shit out of fewer dice, and and the rest of the fight is not gonna be boring. The rest of the fight is not even gonna be boring. Okay, never mind. So fight. Dice. Oh, so sorry. The rest of the fight is boring. It's the next fight that's going to be interesting. So we're just going to fast forward. There's nothing fun to watch here, right? Your DPS is dead. Nothing happens. End of story. So we will actually be able to skip that fight because essentially you're just killing a team without any DPS. There's no danger. You can literally just W key. So Fuel got 28%, which honestly is quite shit. Normally, if you play Death Ball and you turtle in point, you should aim for like more than 40%. So if the chance of winning for Dragon I mentioned was like, I just now mentioned was like 65%, 35, right? At the start of the fight before anything happened. It's probably closer to 70-30 now. Like it's probably closer to 70-30 now. Yeah. So I mean, Fuel is getting it's the first match of the finals. I'm sure they're not very nervous. Not yet, at least. But this map is almost it's just not in a good state. The chance of them winning this map is extremely low because they did not even manage to do what they were supposed to do. Lose the point gracefully and get as much percentage as possible. They lost the point relatively ungracefully, and they're just gonna have to start the push again back to Dragon. And Dragon has 5 ultimate, right? And not only does Dragon have 5 ultimates, Fuel doesn't have Fuel doesn't have very good ultimate. Doha ultimate right here, May out is useless. It's not good at all, which we're gonna take a look at it. When you play May against Dive, you feel very pointless. Your existence is quite pointless. Your job is essentially to freeze the tank as often as possible, the Winston and the D.Va. And you have no other job, or you can't really do anything other than freeze the tank as often as possible. So, and then your Blizzard might get eaten by the D.Va anytime. And even if you manage to land the Blizzard, it doesn't do much because everyone can escape from a Blizzard. So essentially, Doha will switch from May, and we'll take a look at Doha make the swap later. But right now, the first person that's going to swap character in this map is going to be Sparkle. Because Sparkle is playing Symmetra, right? And I mentioned how Symmetra is just very shit against Dive because Symmetra wants to left click and never stop left clicking. Right? He wants to hold down left click and never stop left clicking. And the only way Symmetra can do that is against other people with shields, right? Against other like Reinhardt, like less mobile character. But if you play a Symmetra against Winston has jump, D.Va has booster. So your left click the damage will never increase. It will always be stuck at the lowest level of damage because you guys know how Symmetra damage work, right? It beams up and increases. So you always never upgrade your damage. Essentially, you're a pointless DPS. He didn't even get ultimate, and the first fight lasted quite some time. So Sparkle's going to switch to Reaper, and Reaper makes a little bit more sense. But the composition is still not very good because you still have Doha, right? And May is just not a great DPS character against the composition that Shanghai Dragon is running. So we're going to look at Doha POV. He's going to try to throw the Blizzard, which we are going to watch. But you'll see the Blizzard is actually, it doesn't do much. He goes for the D.Va first, and then he throws his Blizzard once he forces the D.Va to use Defensive Matrix and fly away. But if you take a look at like this Blizzard, you will see that the Blizzard doesn't really do much, right? If you take a look, Izaki is not affected. Void is gonna not be affected. Fate has Primal, is not gonna be affected. No one's gonna get affected. Like, Fuel can even, like, sorry, not Fuel. Shatter Dragon can even ping pong the point. And then essentially the Blizzard does nothing. Yeah, I mean, Fate, instead of maybe playing more aggressively, like, instead of playing here, maybe Fate steps out like 1 meter. But essentially the Blizzard's gonna be, it's gonna not do anything. And Fuel is gonna try to force the dragons to vacate the point. But the Blizzard's just simply not gonna be enough. And Fate is gonna actually use what's it called? Primal, and he's gonna go into the backline. Right, and this is dangerous for Fuel because essentially Fuel have used multiple, what's it called? Fuel has essentially used, okay, I'm gonna show you actually something interesting. Okay, never mind, you know what? I don't want to cut too many times. I'm gonna let you guys watch the whole fight from Fate POV. And I'll pause and I'll show you. Okay, so right now it's chaos. We don't know what's happening. So I want to break this down bit by bit. So the first person that died in this fight was the Moira, was Fielder. And we're going to look at why. So when you look at chaotic team fight, right, it's very hard to understand chaotic team fight. So generally what we do is we look at 1% of the time. So Fielder was the first one to die, so we need to find out why he died, right? Because this is Moira. Moira is not supposed to die first, especially when you have so many ultimates available to you, right? You have like Sombra and everything. So we need to take a look at how Moira dies. So we're going to take a look at Moira. Oh shit. We're going to take a look at Moira before that, and we're going to see what Moira is doing when the Blizzard was pushed down. So Moira is like, you know, happily healing. We're going to drop to 0.5 so I can comment it as we watch. He's healing, he's watching out for Tracer, he's zapping Flater, and you know, he's trying to heal. And then he gets hit by the first Reinhardt hammer. He falls back, he hits the wall. He's trying to heal his main. And then he sees an angry Winston Primal Rage. Right? And then he fades. But you know what happens? He gets fucking stuck. What does he get stuck? He gets stuck on the ice block. So essentially, these two characters are going to use both very important survival based cooldowns. Both the Moira is going to use the Fate and Mei is going to use the ice block. But unfortunately, both of them are going to use it at the same time. And not only are they going to use it, both of them have learned Pythagoras theorem, and the closest way to the exit is essentially a straight line, right? It's a hypotenuse. So they're essentially going to take this line right out so that they can play around the edge. But the problem is, both of them did the same thing. So they're gonna Fielder's gonna essentially fade into the ice block, and he's gonna get fucking stuck. He's gonna get stuck, and then you notice that he's still fucking stuck in the point. He's still fucking stuck. The support is still fucking, and he's falling back. But this is way too late. And this lateness, right? This lateness, and also remember that he got swung once by the enemy Reinhardt. Right, it's Reinhardt. He got hit once by Fate and he hit the wall. So he didn't even manage to backtrack where he wanted to. He's just getting seat left, right, and center. And finally, when he thought he escaped, this beautiful bomb by Void, right? And this is a great bomb. This is a bomb that you guys need to learn, because this bomb, I guarantee you, is gonna get you kills like 80% of the time if you play this map. And then he gets the bomb on Fielder. Bam! Right, Fielder doesn't even know. He realized the last second that he needs to shove the bomb, but it's too late. He dies. And I mean, I can't blame Mei and everything. I can only say Shanghai Dragons fought well. They essentially used they essentially Primal Rage at the right time, and of course Mei ultimate was also quite useless. So and of course it was just unlucky that Fielder crashed into the ice block. No coalescence to buy space. Yeah, I mean they also have no coalescence because Fielder coalescence. I mean, but was it Fielder's fault? Maybe Fielder could have not used coalescence just now, but it's kind of like you're doomed if you do it and you're doomed if you don't. Because Fielder used coalescence in the first fight, right? Fielder used coalescence in the first fight. But the problem was, if he didn't use coalescence, they would have got even less percentage point. And the point is like, he's fucked either way, man. He probably should have hailed it, but man, like they were fucked either way. Probably he should have just hailed coalescence, probably, and saved it for this fight. But it's hard to do it as a Moira, because as Moira you're generally encouraged to use it like off cooldown, because you can charge it so fast. So Fielder died, and this is really, really, really critical for Fuel, because losing Moira is essentially like losing your main DPS, right? There are a few characters that are really, really important in dev ball. Losing your main DPS means they're not dangerous anymore. Losing your main support means you have to win the fight in the next 5 seconds because you have no main support anymore. You have no main healer. So this composition is not good when you start losing members of the team. You lose one, the efficacy of the composition drops to like 50%. But if in this composition, if you lose one character, the efficacy drops to like 80%. Right, you lose another character, the efficacy drops to 70% or 60%, whatever. The point is, losing one character means it's a lot worse for dev ball than it is for dive, because dive works well even in small little units, right? Even if I split only the Winston and the Tracer, that's still dive. It's just like a mini dive. If I split the Diva and the Flake, this is still a tank dive combo. I could even put like one tank and one Brigitte rally and they could still probably rush someone. But this composition doesn't really work without each component being without it existing. So Fuel essentially doesn't want to lose anyone, least of all their main support. So Fuel dying is just really bad for Fuel. But I mean, we're gonna see some really great play over here by Han Bing. The next person that will die in this fight is essentially the Brigitte. Lee Jae-gon is going to die. So we're going to take a look at Han Bin play in this entire fight, because he's going to sort of even things out a little bit on the side of Dallas Fuel. He's going to do really, really well. Okay, so he's aiming for Fate, right? He's trying to go Fate, and then he's like, you know what? I give up. We're going to drop to 0.5. Right? I can't kill the Winston, so he's poking. And he's holding his shield. You can see he's holding his shield. He still has a lot of his shield. And the reason, normally when you play double shield, you can see he has a lot of shield. When you play double shield, you generally want to manage your shield a lot more, because your right heart shield is the one that's going to get hit first. You don't want to use your Sigma shield and the right heart shield at the same time. You want your right shield to be low, then you throw your Sigma shield, let your right rest his shield, and then you sort of like alternate between each two. So you can see Han Bin still has a lot of shield, and that means that they have more shield available to them at any point in time. So what Han Bin's going to use is out, and you can see he's kind of looking for someone. So he's actually looking for the Ana, and of course he's not going to find the Ana. The Ana is all the way back here. So the second best option for him to out, right, is not the tanks, but instead his second best option is actually to out the Brigitte. So he's going to find the Brigitte, because Brigitte is essentially, how do I say it? The Brigitte essentially can't really escape. It's hard to out it's hard to out Fleta, because Fleta can escape very easily. Echo is extremely mobile. It's easy for him to just fly out before the animation catches him. It's of course impossible to out a Tracer unless the Tracer is like a bronze. So he's going to go for the Brigitte instead, and I think that's a good play. Let's go for the Brigitte. He's the Brigitte, and Brigitte is going to go up. He's going to fly around, and he's going to fly under Lee Jae-gong, I think. He's going to shoot Lee Jae-gong a couple more times, and Lee Jae-gong is going to die. So this is actually critical for the side of Fuel, because removing Lee Jae-gong removes the rally, and rally is, I wouldn't say rally is like an insane ultimate, but rally is still better than fucking Blizzard. Yeah, that's how shitty Blizzard is. Like, rally is not even like Rally is a good out, but it's not as good as last time. And even then, Rally is still better than fucking Blizzard. So I mean, that's how shitty Blizzard is in against this comp in this map. So Lee Jae-gong dies, and he's going to lose his Rally, which is really unfortunate for Dragons. And this is going to give Fuel like a small chance, because Fuel lose their main support, right? They no longer have Moira, which means that they don't have heals, which means that it's hard for them to W key and maintain a long push, which means that they need to end the fight as quickly as possible. Not only do they need to attack, they need to attack, and they need to attack, and they need to attack. There is no backing off. Literally, there is no backing off. This is all in. In the next 2 to 3 seconds, they will have to all in like never before. So if you go to Fearless, right, I'll show you what I mean. Like, he literally just charges. He literally just charges, because he doesn't even care. Like, you know, he's not going to get anyone. He knows he's not going to get, like, the chance of him getting someone is like 10%. But he needs to do it because his Moira is dead. Like, he's dead. You know, the least he could do is get a lucky pin if someone's not paying attention. So he's going to charge. He's going to die in like... But that's not like a feeding charge. That's like the charge where you think, my Moira is dead, the chance of winning is 10%. But if I charge and I pin someone, like the 1% chance I pin someone, maybe you can turn the fight. So he charged, he dies. Yeah, he gave an honest shot. When it ramps up, you can't kill anything. I've been watching for a while, but only gone a break. Miss you, man. I really enjoy it. And thanks, man. Video game. I really... Yeah, thank you. How unlucky is that? That's crazy bomb placement. I mean, I spoke about how Void is like one of the best Diva in Gladiators, because he has such good understanding of Diva, right? I think Gladiators didn't use him well enough, right? We essentially... Gladiators teamwork wasn't like the best. Like 19 gladiators, and like we were a good team, but we weren't like an insane team, and I felt like we didn't manage to utilize Void to its fullest. But we can see Void really blossoming in like dragons. Yeah, that's the kind of bomb placement that gets you into Overwatch League. Alright. Okay. So, I mean, Fearless is dead, Fielder is dead, but Lee Joy-Gong is dead. So, it's not like it's impossible to win. It's just extremely unlikely. And Sparkle is slapped due to Izayaki great sleep as well, right? That's why they pay Izayaki the big bucks. So, Izayaka's going to sleep, but I mean, Sparkle is actually not... sorry, not Izayaki. Sparkle is going to sleep, but Sparkle is actually not going to die. Jecse was actually playing well. I'm going to show you Jecse POV. Nothing really important happens here. Like Jecse doesn't really do anything really insane, but I wanted to show you like why he used his sound barrier. Right? He uses sound barrier to protect against the D.Va bomb. It's unfortunate because like right now when D.Va throws his bomb, you generally don't just trust your teammate because everything's happening in such a small amount of time. It's hard to make the optimal play. So even if you know you don't like, you're not going to think he's using his sound barrier. You just need to try to keep yourself alive. So Jackson's going to use his Lucio sound barrier. Mora is going to die, and they're going to try to push forward. In a perfect world, essentially, they're going to use sound barrier to awe in the enemy, and then once the sound barrier ends, they're going to use coalescence. And once they use coalescence, right, essentially they use sound barrier to counter rally if possible, and then after that they use coalescence to continue pushing dragon. And at that point in time, they hope that someone will die, like one of the tanks will die, or one of the DPS will die, or that Anna has to keep falling back and take worse and worse angle. But Moira's gonna die. The coalescence is not gonna kick in, and Jecse is just the sole support in this composition now. And you can see Jecse is just like, Jecse and Doha is just trying their best to protect Sparkle. They're like, oh, Sparkle's sleeping, we need to protect Sparkle. And Fearless is just being fearless, right? He has no main support anymore. He can't do anything. He's essentially just dead. The best thing he can do is, like, literally the best thing he can do is try to pin the Winston and kill the Winston with a pin on the side of the thing. But he's gonna miss Fate just by a little bit. I think if he gets Fate would have died, but he's gonna miss Fate just a little bit. And yeah, it's not gonna kill Fate. I mean, he could have also get Lip, one of those. If he get a lucky charge into the Tracer, maybe it was possible to turn, but he's gonna die. It's still a good charge because he's gonna die no matter what happens. That at least that means he sort of he took a gamble, and it was the best possible gamble he could have taken. And I like that he sort of distracted the Tracer as well. I mean, I'm sure he was. I'm sure he also did it trying to protect Sparkle because he knows that Sparkle got slapped, right? So if he doesn't like try to do something crazy and pull the attention to him, this Tracer could be like on Sparkle 3, 2, 1. They could try to burn Sparkle down. So the fact that Fate and Lip are both on him, he gambled trying to pin one of them. I think he sort of saved Sparkle, I would say, because right now Void and Flater doesn't have enough DPS to kill Sparkle, so Sparkle's gonna actually survive, funnily enough, and get back into the fight. And this is going to be critical. Sparkle surviving here is actually going to be critical, and we will find out later why it's critical. So at this point in time, it's been a really messy team fight. It's essentially, it's like a 4 versus 4. No, 5 versus 4. Wait, we're missing one player from Dragons. What are we missing? 1, 2, 3. What the fuck are we missing? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, where's Fate? Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, that's 5. Sorry, I counted wrong. Sorry. So I was like, why does it look to me like 4 versus 4? And I just didn't see Fate. I mean, I just saw miss his icon. So at this moment it's 5v4. I'm sorry. At this moment it's 5v4, right? And Fewer essentially is down 2 members, but Dragons lost Lee Jae-gong, and essentially both team doesn't have ultimate. So essentially it's a 5v4. Dragons is expected to kill Fewer in the next 20 seconds. They need to kill everyone in the next 20 to 25. I mean, the sooner the better. If they can kill in 10 seconds, even better, right? So essentially they need to 3, 2, 1 dive, and this should be a perfectly textbook dive. But it's not, and we're going to show you why, right? Essentially, if Dragon wins this fight, they win the entire game. They win the entire round. Because it's already 40%. So if they win this fight, it's 60%. Izayaki gets his next Nano. Nano is gonna fuck the shit out of Fuel, even with Coalescence. Coalescence doesn't do jack shit against a Nano, because Coalescence doesn't heal enough to counter a Nano. So essentially, if Dragons wins this fight, the chance of them winning is even higher. It's no longer 70%. It's probably like 85% or something. But Fuel is gonna actually pull off an upset right here. And this is gonna be the crazy thing. This is going to be the unpredictable part of Overwatch, and unpredictable part of Overwatch happens all the time. So if you look at our notes, right, I'm going to write Hanbin out, Doha out, and we actually covered these two already. So essentially, we are into the next page. We're into the next page. Essentially, 5v4. Oh shit, what's happening? Okay, 5v4. Oh yes, let's go back. 5v4. So, I mean, if you look at these 4 people, the lowest HP character is essentially the Sigma. The Sigma is 1 HP, and the Tracer has his eyes on him. Right? If you look at the Tracer is like shooting Hanbin. Right at this moment, everyone's just shouting, Sigma, Sigma, Sigma! Peel. Peel means low in Korean. So, oh shit, let me draw it out. Peel. Peel! This is, I'm sure my pronunciation is atrocious, but Peel means low, 1 HP in Korean, and that's probably what they're shouting. They're shouting, Sigma Pill, Sigma Pill. We're gonna take a look right there. They're just like fucking the shit out of Hanbin. Everyone's dead. There's no support. There's no Moira anymore. So they are shouting, Hanbin, Hanbin, Hanbin. You know, Tracer. Lib is just like fucking lasering Hanbin. You know, and if you look at Fate after this thing, right? Bam, 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 bam. Right, he kills the Ryan. He's like, right, and he goes back and he's like, he hears Lib. Lib is saying Hanbin Pill. No. I mean, he wouldn't say Hanbin. He'll say Sigma Pill, Sigma Pill, and then you know, Fate sees Sigma and goes, yeah, fucking Sigma is Pill. Look at the fucking Sigma. He's fucking low as fuck. So he's gonna go for Sigma, right? And Sigma is really fucking Pill, but the fucking Pill Sigma is not. PL Sigma is not even fucking dying, and it's taking a long time. And Fate continues pushing, and he gets fucked by Sparkle, because Sparkle at this moment, you know, they are trying to peel the fucking Sigma, and Sparkle is like, he wakes up, and Sparkle should have died because he's sleeping, and Sparkle goes all the way back, and instead of going all the way back for the Tracer or anything, he turns around and he fucks the ever living shit out of Fate, and this is possible because of Doha. So I mean, I guess Doha wasn't like totally useless as Mei. Not that his Mei was bad, but you know, he finally got that freeze on Winston. And I guess at this point in time, I was like, I remember watching this and I was thinking, was there any way they could have killed like Sigma faster? And I actually wasn't too sure. Like, did Izaki miss some shot or something? Like, you know, could Fate have been healed more? So he's shooting Doha, he missed a shot, hits a shot, miss a shot. And I was actually looking at this, I was like, hits, and I thought that, I wonder whether Izaki, like, if he hit his shot, whether the Sigma would have died, because the Sigma was actually really fucking low, and of course I know no Ana is 100% no 100% like accuracy, not even pros, right? But I couldn't help but notice that I thought that if Izaki had hit the shot on the Sigma, then that Sigma would have died. I feel like I was just looking for how Dragons could have squeezed out a little bit more damage. Like, right now he shot the thing, right? And then he heals Void. Right? And then he was kind of playing DPS for a bit. But oh shit, not this one. I guess I have to go further back. Shoots. Gets a great sleep right here. I mean, at this point I'm nitpicking, and I don't mind telling you guys I'm nitpicking, but I was trying to find out whether the Sigma could have just died a little bit faster. Right, it's healing. Nice sleep. Shoots Doha. And I mean, I guess it was impossible. Like, I don't think he could have done anything. But it was just like, fucking Sigma is 1 HP, man. Like, was there no way the dive comp could have killed Hanbin faster? Maybe Lip missed a couple of shots. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Hanbin actually managed to survive, and they were still kiting back, and they actually managed to kill Fate. So, I'm not too sure. Let me take a look at Fate Bubble. Oh, Fate no Bubble. How about Flater? Could Flater have done more? Anyway, Sigma survived, right? Hanbin survived, and that's really important because Fate dying here is like fucking atrocious, because just now was a 5v5, right? Sorry, 5v4, right? This brings it back to 4v4. Yeah, and you lost your Winston, your main tank. Remember we talked about how Winston essentially enables dive. You lose your Winston, you lose your jump, you lose your bubble, dive is no longer dive, right? Dive can lose anyone but the Winston, essentially. You can lose even the Ana, you can lose the Brick, you can lose anyone, fuck it, man. But lose Winston and you no longer really have dive. So losing Fate here was really crazy. You would think that Shanghai Dragon was like winning a great, like by a lot, right? And Fillers die, you know, Feudor die, and it's just insane play from Dragons. And Feudor also managed to burn like all the importance out. But I mean, Legicon lost his rally, which I think was really important at keeping Fate topped up. And then yeah, Fate just freaking died to Feudor, and it became a 4v4, even though Dragon had such like a significant advantage at the start of the fight. Most people just play without. How are you supposed to avoid that? Just constantly focus? Wait, let me see. Izaki didn't play bad in this series. Yeah. I don't think he played bad in the series. Hey, so you can kill it. John can count literally the center. Sorry, Japtai. I think sometimes more is less. Grinding mindlessly gives diminishing returns. I have like this controversial theory, right? But maybe, I mean, it's not really controversial, but to me, like, if you, it's not really controversial. It's pretty much a fact. Essentially, if you don't start grinding when you are very young, like you don't start playing computer games, like let's say you want to be a League of Legends pro, then you probably should have just started playing League of Legends the moment it started at the humble age of like 7-8 years old. It's like how a lot of the great, like in the up and coming games like Fortnite. Well, I mean, it's not really up and coming, but when Fortnite was around, a lot of people were really young, right? Essentially, the younger you are when you start, right, the more likely you will learn how to focus in game. Because let's say you never really played computer games in the past, and you grow older, it's gonna be hard for you to actually play more than a few hours of computer games at night. I don't know how much computer games you guys can play in a row. In fact, we can drop a poll. Like, how much computer games can you play before you think you will start to autopilot? Let me do this. Is there a poll? Poll. Streaming tool. Is it streaming tools? Oh no, I found it. Poll. Let's do a poll. Okay, manage poll. Create a new poll. How many hours can you play before autopiloting? Okay. The first one, let's say under 2 hours. Second one, 2 to 4 hours, right? 4 to 6 hours. More than 6 hours. Okay, let's see duration. I think 1 minute is fine. Alright, you can see the poll. How many hours can you play before autopiloting? Right. Let's say OVO, or any game that you guys play, right? So I mean, assuming that at the start you guys are like concentrating a game, I mean it's not like you win like 20 times in a row, right? You are losing a couple of times. You are getting tilted if you get tilted. It's not like a great win streak of game. Obviously, if you win all the time, it's gonna be less exhausting. If you lose a lot, it does get mentally tiring after a while. So how many hours can you guys play? I'm gonna get a glass of water, but I'll be back. Okay, 2 to 4 hours. Well, I mean, that's about the same amount of time as mine as well. I can play about 2 to 4 hours before I before I start to autopilot. Coaching I can do a bit longer, but playing, because you need to focus and you need to think. So you are essentially coaching yourself, right? To improve in a game, you are essentially coaching yourself. You are not a very good coach, but you're not a very good gamer as well. But as you improve in a game, as you improve as a coach, you learn how to improve in the game. And as you improve in the game, you learn more as a coach, and you start to, you start to improve like more and more as you get higher and higher rank. I mean, of course, it gets harder and harder because you're fighting against people that are also learning fast and they are also at high rank. But the point is, you guys can play 2 to 4 hours at most. But when I was in Gladiators, right, and I was talking to all the players, you know how many hours they can play before they go into autopilot mode? More than 6 hours. More than 6 hours. Essentially, they started young. A lot of the esports players you see that are like under 20, they start young, like literally high school. They finish school at maybe, let's say, 3 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. This is high school, right? Or elementary school. I mean, I don't know, secondary school. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, but let's say after the age of like 13, 14, not even 13, 14, it's like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, around that age, right? You start playing competitive games. They finish school at, let's say, early in the afternoon. You can technically play for 8 to 12 hours, right? 8 to 10 hours is very doable. You can play literally from 1 p.m., 2 p.m., all the way to 10 p.m. That is plausible. I mean, I'm assuming, like, let's say your parents don't control your PC, that sort of shit. I mean, I'm not going to put all those aside. They might start playing, they play more and more, and they're used to that sort of time, which means that over a year, every day in that year, they're playing anywhere more than 6 hours, right? More than 6 hours, like 6 to 8 hours, like bam, 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 6 to 8 hours. And they get used to it. And after that, they start to autopilot, but, they still get a lot of time spent when they're not autopiloting. And this takes some skill. It's like martial arts or running. Some of us can run 42 click, and then in the first 10, 20 kilometers are not even tiring. And then for some of us that, those are the people that train, right? The Olympic runners, blah, 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 the trained professional runners. But all of us, there's no way we can run more than like, for those that doesn't train, there's no way you can run more than 500, 600 meters before you're like gasping. And I'm sure you're not even running that fast and you're gasping because you're not trained essentially. So when you start young, you put in a lot of hours, your body get used to it, and physiologically you also get used to it. And you not only spend more time in the game, you also learn how to not spend more time before autopiloting. And this starts from a very young age. When you start growing older, right, you have more things on your mind. You have your job, your school, your friends, your social life. There is no way you can play more than 2 to 4 hours every night. I mean, sure, maybe you can play up to 6 hours, but 6, 8, 10 hours, those are a thing of the past because you're an adult, because you have school, because you have work, but mainly because you never started playing 10 hours a day when you're young. Even if you want to, you simply cannot. Even if you have the time, you simply cannot. Even if, let's say, I put you in an Overwatch League team and you guys start grinding your ass off, right? 10 hours, you are going to start autopiloting after 3 to 4 hours. Like, even if you don't want to, you'll start autopiloting. But the other guy who has been doing that when they're young, they are improving. It's the 5th hour, it's the 6th hour, it's the 7 hours, but they're still concentrating, they're still improving. But your improvement stops at hour 2, your improvement stops at hour 3, but their improvement doesn't stop. So not only is their rate of improvement faster than you, they're also spending more time with that faster rate of improvement. And that starts very, very young. That's why in China and China has this like regime for like gymnasts and wushu and everything, right? They start extremely young, like literally like 4 years old. They're spending like all the time outside school training, right? It's very harsh, especially in Asia. You're just like spending all your time studying or training in something, and by the time you're age of like 12, you've already spent like 5,000 hours in like gymnasts. That's like half your life or something, right? And then by your age of 16, you spend like 20,000 hours. But the other guy who started at age of like 16, he only spent like 600 hours, and she's a professional in her country. But in China, you start at the age of like 3, 4, 5, and then you have like double the amount of hour as the other professional competitor. So that's the same for gaming. It's a new industry, but that's the same. And people like us who play 2 to 4 hours, we are not going to be pro. I mean, we don't need to be pro, right? But that's like the fact, essentially. I've been trained. Hey, Stalker, yo, John, long time no see as well. I mean, Ben Jesus talk about that's why we watch replays for Mystic, right? So since we can only play 2 to 4 hours, we need to fucking maximize the 2 to 4 hours, right? And that's why we talk so much about like Kovacs, aim trainer. We talk so much about like watching VODs. We talk so much about hiring coach. Because now we don't have time, we don't have energy, but we have resources. We have guides that Overwatch League pros write. We have aim trainer we can buy from Steam. We have VOD review. We have Twitch streamer like me that can explain how to review VODs and stuff like that. We'll use other things to shortcut our way so we can have maximum efficiency with the shortest amount of time. But at the end of the day, we will still be capped out by how many hours we can focus and spend on computer games, right? I played 12 maps for OD 2 weekends ago in one day. Then Hinya, you are one of those people in the polls, right? You're one of the minorities in the polls. And I respect that is exhausting. People think it's computer game is easy. It's not, right? The people that think computer game is easy has not spent 10 hours playing computer game, right? They play during the weekend after work and they're like, man, I envy these people playing computer game, and there's some truth in being able to do your dream job. But it's not as easy as they think. You do it for months and months and months, 10, 12 hours a day, and you have fans and you have the pressure of only having a year contract that might not get renewed next year, and it really eats into you. It's not that easy. It's a dream job, but it's not an easy dream job. It's not a dream job that you spend like 4 hours a day and you earn a lot of money. You actually have to spend a lot of time, and there's a lot of pressure. Definitely less than 1 hour. More than 6 hours, you have some legends here. Don't you have to do it if it plays 2 to 3? Yeah, if it plays 2 to 3 screen box, you are definitely in the more than 6 hour thing. I mean, I know I said max potential, but I'm gonna say like more than 70-80% of your brain capacity, right? There's no way you can stay at 100% like 6 hours in a row, right? You're gonna like fluctuate. But like, let's say below 60%, you are gonna have huge diminishing returns. So I guess I meant not autopiloting as like maintaining more than 70% all the time, right? It doesn't mean you need to maintain 100%, right? I mean, unless you're on fucking like math or something, you're not gonna, or crack, you're not gonna be able to maintain 100% for 6 hours. But more than 70% is perfectly fine. Do they all have headphones? This makes me think of applying current endurance athlete training science to Overwatch playing. It's gonna work. Sports science, there are huge overlap with like esports. Big tangent time, by the way. Yeah, sorry. It's like when I go on vacation and come back, play on the PC, I feel burnout much earlier. Yeah, definitely. Because you lose a little bit of endurance. There's endurance in computer games as well. Constant 1% brain usage. It's just natural, man. It just doesn't work. It's just natural. Yeah. Okay. So we see Sparkle fucking the shit out of Fate, right? And where were we? We were talking about how Shanghai Dragon had like a huge advantage. And it was a 5 versus 4, and then Fate jumps for Sigma. They're like shouting Sigma, 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 right? Fate jumps for Sigma, and it doesn't really get the jump pack on Sigma. Sigma gets pushed behind, use grasp, and suck up all the damage, and he gets fucked by Doha and Sparkle. Great target calling by Phil is gonna force this back into 4v4, and 4v4 is just, I mean, I would still give it to Dragons. Like, it's still Dragons' match to lose, but it's getting closer and closer. It's no longer like one-sided for Dragons. So the next person is going to push up is essentially Void. If your main tank goes down, your off tank still has the word tank in its name. Sure, I mean, your off tank is not the main tank, but when your main tank dies, you become the main tank, right? So, I mean, Lip is still behind Hanbin, but Lip can't push towards Hanbin. So you can see a lot of Tracer, right? They don't play very aggressive. They don't play like here. If you see people play in rank, they're like playing right in front of the fucking people they're trying to shoot. But that makes it very easy for people to land rock, headshots, melee. It's very easy to force a Tracer back. So a lot of time you'll see Tracer actually plays in this. I call this like the Tracer distance. You spend like 70-80% of the time like with a certain distance, right? Sort of like 1 to 2 blink distance. And you're always like patrolling this 1 to 2 blink distance of the Nexus. And let's say this is the guy you want to kill, and you're always like within 1 to 2 blink distance. And then you're shooting, and when your tank gets ready, your tank jumps in. That's when you pop, and then you go for the target. So this is what Lip is doing. He technically could just blink towards Hanbin, but the chance of just dying to Hanbin, like straight up headshots, Jecse getting a full left click boop combo, it's quite high. It's not that low. So Lip is sort of like playing like a spider. He's lying in wait, just getting ready to go for Hanbing. And he's gonna do that when Fate jumps in. Unfortunately, Fate already jumped in and died. So remember I said that the main tank is the main tank until the main tank dies, and then the off tank becomes the new main tank. Void has to go. He has no choice. He's probably gonna die. But Hanbin has to die. I mean, this is Shanghai Dragons. They don't really fucking play slow. There's still a good opportunity for Shanghai Dragons to win, because remember I said, for every character that Fuel lose, it's much more significant than for every player that Shanghai Dragons lose, because the nature of dive comp means that each player is very individualistic. They can each make a play, but Fuel requires each member to be existing and alive to become death ball. Lose one person and it's no longer death ball, right? But dive, it will always remain dive. Like, no matter what happens, someone can just rush up and just one clip someone, no matter whether you have one less tank or two less tank. So now Void is just going to take the role of Winston. There's still a dive comp, and he's going to rush the Sigma. You can see he's going to rush the Sigma. And he's also trying to buy time for Doha and everyone to die as well, right? The rushing, of course, will allow Lip to, you can see, play more aggressively. We saw Lip was holding this angle just now, but Lip is going to play more aggressively because Void is going to take the space and rush Hanbin. And now Hanbin dies, and we kind of go back into a, if you look at, let's do the math again, right? Now we go into a 1, 2, 3, 3 versus 3. Is that right? 3 versus 3? Yeah, I have my notes. So 5v4 goes to 4v4, and then Hanbin dies, right? And Void dies. So, okay, Void is... Where's the fuck is Void? Void gets the mag, jumps out. Okay, so you can see, now it's... Sorry, 4v3. But of course, Void pushing forward also meant that Doha had to ice block just now. So Lip and Void is actually going to be able to kill Doha. And at this point in time, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4v2. So, I mean, Dragons... had a serious advantage, lost the advantage, got back the advantage, and now it's like a 4v2, right? But you must remember that Fuel still has Reaper, and Reaper is essentially the RNG king of DPS. You land a couple of lucky shots, your the shotgun god, literally says, you know what, I bless you, son, today, and you can always kill someone. So Sparker's gonna push for Void. It's gonna, I believe, 2-clip Void. It's gonna go for Lip as well, and okay, he's gonna go for the health pack instead, right? And Void dies, and of course the 4v2 is lost. Void doesn't really have a mech. He doesn't get to remech, so it's essentially no longer a 4v2. It's like a 3v2 now, and technically, Shanghai Dragons still have an advantage, because not only are they one man up, I mentioned that it's a dive comp, so they still have the advantage, but things are changing. If you take a look, right, Fielder, who was the first one to die in the game, has come back because he's a fucking Moira, and we see a sneaky Fielder Fearless coming from the left side with a Shatter. So essentially, and this is actually a very rare sight, right? We actually see Deathball wrapping up Dive, and this is quite rare. I mean, you don't really see Deathball wrapping. God damn it! Why is my epic pen not working? Okay, I think I need to restore my epic pen. 1 second. We're gonna actually see a wrap. I hope you guys can see it. See, I don't know why I can't. Fuck, I can see my cursor. Oh, there we go. I can draw. I click on this. Can I draw? I can. Okay. So you can see kind of like they are wrapping up. Deathball is actually wrapping up, which is... It's actually a really good play by Fuel. Because if Reinhardt goes by this way, right? First of all, it takes longer for Reinhardt to go this way, which means that Fuels will spend more time without the Reinhardt helping. And if Reinhardt goes this way, this is a shorter path, and Reinhardt can sort of like threaten with the Shatter. It's going to be hard for him to land the Shatter on the Lucio or the Ana, because the Lucio is looking at the Reinhardt, and the Lucio will tell Izaki that Reinhardt is coming. So these two are able to avoid the Reinhardt by moving in a position that can avoid the Reinhardt. But this sort of movement will stop them from being able to support this guy. So essentially, Fearless is making a really good play here, which is, I mean, I suppose why Fearless is revered. And this I hope the analysts and the casters saw this. This is a really good play by Fearless. Even if these two saw Fearless, because this is not fucking bronze, right? You can see the Reinhardt coming with the Shatter like a million miles away. But these people have to move back a little bit, right? Just a little bit, but nonetheless, you will be able to support these two a lot less just because of the sheer pressure. You have to respect the shadow. It's not going to land. It's 1% chance it lands on the Lucio and the Ana, but you have to respect that 1% chance. And that 1% chance is going to stop you from healing your Tracer and your Echo just that little bit more. And that's really, really important. So we're going to not look at Reinhardt over here. We're going to go back to the DPS. Because right now it's a DPS game. Both the tanks are dead, right? Flater and Leap are alive. Essentially, the people that are going to be playing really... essentially, the people that are essentially going to be cleaning up the fight will be Leap and Flater. But instead of looking at that... Actually, instead of looking at DPS, I want to take a look at Jecse first. So Jecse is... We know that Jecse is a famous Lucio. One of the things that Jecse is really good at doing is knowing when to play defensively and knowing when to play aggressively. He sees the Lucio... he sees the Reaper going on the right side, right? And Flater and Leap is actually still executing a dive. If you take a look at this, right? Flater and Leap is still executing a dive. So they lost Fate. They no longer have the Winston. Void dives. They lose Void. Flater and Leap dives. Because they still have mobility, right? So they can still... focus down one target and kill one target really, really fast. And Jecse knows this. Jecse knows that they're going to try to 2v1 the Reaper. And the Reaper has used his Wraith. So the Reaper is very vulnerable, right? Reaper is essentially... He's like a surprise. Like, he either W keys and shoot someone, or he's sort of surprise, like, surprise, motherfucker, and he kills someone, right? Which is what he did to Fate. But at this point in time, the element of surprise is gone. Sparkle, they know where Sparkle is. Sparkle no longer have his Wraith. Flater and Leap is just trying to fly. And this is where Jecse says, you guys are trying to 2v1 the Sparkle, but I'm a fucking DPS too, you little fuck. So Jecse is going to go straight for Flater, and he's going to get, like, I think, 2 headshots, right? And he's going to boop Flater. And of course, Leap and Flater essentially goes like, you know what, this fucker, and he's going to turn around, and they're going to kill Jecse. But if you look at the kill feed, Flater dies. And Jecse has done a fuck ton. If you look at Leap, right? Okay, I'm going to slow it down. They're killing Sparkle. They're like, Hanbin is down. The next target call, P.Ill, Sparkle P.Ill, sorry, P.Ill. It's not P.Ill, but P.Ill. I mean, my pronunciation is definitely atrocious. So they're like, P.Ill. And they're trying to go for this fucker. But Jecse comes behind and tries to fucking one-on-one Flater. So Leap goes, this motherfucker. So instead of going for the Reaper, right? They're going to turn around and they're going to go for Jecse instead, right? But Jecse gets the fattest boob, and Jecse is going to die because this is fucking diamond. So you can see Jecse dies in like fucking like half a second. But Jecse already did his job. What did Jecse do? Jecse played as the main tank. I'm not even joking. So Jecse goes in, he's playing DPS, but he's fulfilling another role. He's pulling attention onto it. He's like the main tank now. So he goes for Flater, right? He goes for Flater, and he knows he's gonna die. Okay, this is the best. He boops Flater. I hope you can see. He boops Flater, and he boops Leap as well. And Jecse's gonna die. He got fucking bombed by Flater. And at this moment, right? Sparkle walks back in, and blast the shit out of Flater. So instead of like a 2v1, Jecse actually played this really well. If he went a little bit later, probably Reaper would have died. If he went a little bit earlier, probably he would have died and Reaper wouldn't have been able to help. But Jecse played the best fucking timing of this fucking round, and sort of like put the attention at just the perfect time for Sparkle to step back in and bam, and smash the shit out of Flater. And Dragon is like, they're losing members, they're leaking members, they are Divecom and they got the first pick, but they're just fucking leaking players all the time because Sparkle is just RNGing. I mean, it's not even RNG shotgun, right? That's not even RNG. That's just great teamwork of each individual member of Fuel. So they're gonna lose each member, and and the threat and the Mora is back, and you can start to see, right? This is the first time they no longer outnumber Fuel. Now it's a 3v3, and the Moira is back. The Reaper is back, and now the Tracer can't kill the Reaper easily anymore because now you have like the Ana, you have the Ana and the Tracer trying to kill the Reaper, but the Reaper is getting pocketed by the Moira, and essentially you can no longer kill anyone. You lost both your tank, you lost your Lucio, you lost your fucking you even fucking lost Flater. So now essentially you have no more. I mean, you are Dive and you're still a very powerful DPS in Tracer, but your opportunity is essentially gone now. And right now, it's a stalemate. The Tracer probably wouldn't die, and the Ana probably wouldn't die, and the Lucio probably wouldn't die, but neither are they going to be able to kill anyone. So this is Divecom not at its finest, at its weakest state, right? You lost both tanks, you lost the other DPS. It's not that you can't deal damage anymore, but it's just going to be hard to out-damage the Moira. So this was, I think, a really messy, chaotic fight, right? But I hope I tried to break it down slowly, right? How there were kills from both teams, right? Dragon opening up the kill on Fielder. A great kill on Fielder, and then Dragon's chance of winning was extremely high. But you see Dragon start to trade members out, right? Sparkle killed Fade, Lee Jae-gon died due to Hanbin Sigma out, and then they start to lick people by people. And it's not like the dive is bad, but Fielder is getting a lot of individual plays, individual outplays, individual timing and opportunistic outplays in, and all this individual outplay from Fuel is really Element Mystic's specialty, and this is great play from Element Mystics, especially a player like a Sparkle. Great play from Sparkle, a great play from Fearless, who's flanking from the back, and yeah, I think no, great play from Sparkle, Fearless, and Jecse. I would say these three people are really the stars of this fight. They're essentially going to carry. These three people are going to single-handedly carry this entire team back, this entire fight back from essentially a sure lose. Stocko. Pit low in Korean. Yeah, it sounds like Pew, but Dallas are playing out of their mind. They're playing out of their individual mind. I'll say as a teamwork wise, right? Fewer doesn't play as well as Dragons, teamwork wise. But individual play, you get this fucking great plays from each member of... I mean, it's not like their teamwork is horrendous either. The teamwork is not bad. But when it comes to individual play, you just see this beautiful fucking, like, small skirmishes. It's not even just individual plays, like timing, small little teamwork between small pockets of teammates, between the Lucio and Reaper, between the Reaper and Ryan. Yeah, like the small pockets of teamwork is just great within Element Mystic, and these are the sort of things that it's hard to find in like other teams. To me, like it's hard to see. I didn't really see a lot of this in contenders, right? You see a lot of like even great contenders team, you see a lot of like good teamwork, but you don't see this kind of small pockets of teamwork. The small pockets of teamwork comes with a lot of experience, because this happens in such a small window of opportunity, right? Jecse moving out and booping requires mechanics, yes, but it also requires a lot of trust that Sparkle is actually going to follow up. Otherwise, he's just committing suicide. And it also requires Sparkle to spot the opportunity that Jecse bought him. So all these are just great plays from all the members of Fuel, which made it just a great game. How do you think they coordinate that? Do you think it's just experience playing together and instinct, or are they fast? It's experience playing together and instinct. You pretty much got it. It's experience playing together and instinct. And right behind, so supports can't pocket lip close to it. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I say Fearless is also carrying this. Even though Fearless haven't done anything yet. It's kind of a spoiler. We're going to see Fearless land a great Shatter. Hanbin with the pick on Lee Jae-gon is the real carry. Yeah, I mean, if Lee Jae-gon actually got out his rally, they might have been able to wipe out really, really quickly. So Hanbin getting the pick on Lee Jae-gon was actually... I didn't say Hanbin because it wasn't like impressive. It was like a mechanically simple play. But the impact of that kill on Hanbin was actually really, really good. And I mean, it's not mechanically that easy. He did play that really well. So I don't want to take it away from Hanbin. Hanbin played really well as well. Probably the one that didn't look great was Fielder, right? Because Fielder got stuck on the ice block. So I mean, I don't think Fielder is a bad player, but anyway, Fielder is probably the only player that doesn't come out of these fights smelling great. I mean, Doha also didn't really do that much, I guess. I mean, of course they will do a lot in subsequent maps and subsequent fights, but in this particular fight, the MVPs are essentially the four people: Sparkle, Fearless, Hanbin, and Jecse. Yeah, I mean, we can't blame Fielder for that. Void that wasn't even like a teamwork play. It was just Void just fucking flipping like the middle of fuck you, Fielder, and then Fielder's getting fucked. Was Void choice to push the Sigma correct, or should they have done something? I think it was correct. Yeah, because they are dive comp. They can't just play it slow. That's not how Shanghai Dragons play. That's not how they got that's not how they did so well last year, right? Pushing was essentially a very reasonable play, and it was a good play. Lee Jae-gon mistake. Yeah, I was actually... If we take a look back at... Because you guys are all talking about Lee Jae-gon, right? We can take a look back at that play. Because that was a play that I spent a lot of time looking at as well. I didn't really talk much about Li Jiegong dying and whether that was a mistake, but we can take a look at that fight as well. This is when Li Jiegong died. So you can see his, how do I say this? Shanghai Dragons is a very aggressive team. Whenever they make a call, they generally push together. I guess why I'm saying that is because technically, right, if this was EU or NA, I think Li Jiegong as an NA player or EU player, they would have been more individualistic. I mean, it's a mistake, but I'm going to explain my opinion. This is more an opinion. This is not a fact, so this is my opinion. I think, right, if this was NA or EU, if this was an NA or EU brick, this brick would have said, I might die to the Sigma out. I need to be really, really careful. So I think he won't step past this line. He will literally just play here. So he can move out and he can move back in. Right? He can just play like that. That's what I think. NA and EU brick. But I think Fate is calling. I think they're short calling. They see the enemy, Dallas Fury, is getting pushed back. They can no longer maintain control of this pillar. And they are getting gradually forced backwards. Right? And essentially, if you get to force them through the door, you have already won half the battle. Because you can just control the choke. So you want to force them away from this line as much as possible. So they're short calling, they're asking for a push. Li Jiegong is just trying to get as much damage in, trying to maintain his Inspire up as long as possible. Right? And you can see he's trying his best. He's trying to put pressure. He's trying to play up front. Which is a mistake, which you guys mentioned, because he should have played more passively because he had rally, right? But he's trying to milk rally as much as possible, and it's a mistake. I cannot say it's not a mistake, but I also see in this mistake the spirit of Shanghai Dragons. The spirit where they always want to be opportunistically threatening the enemy with as much pressure as possible. And if I have to turn the context to coaching, this is where coaching becomes very nuanced. In many occasions, when you tell a player that, hey, this is a mistake, right? You gotta play more passively, you gotta not die and hold your thing. Many a times it's a seesaw, and it has a lot of times, right? It has the opposite effect of making a player play too concerned about his life. So it's like a seesaw, right? Too safe and too aggressive. In the ideal world, right, each player plays perfectly. But I mean, of course, no one plays like perfectly. There's no such thing as perfect because we're all human, right? But this is like totally balanced. You're like perfectly safe, perfectly aggressive. But let's say we see Li Jiegong make this play and we say, hey man, you are a little bit too aggressive. You need to play safe. A lot of times, right, what happens is they start to play really safe and they start looking at a rally and you lose that little bit of like that aggression. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but a lot of times this seesaw starts bouncing up and down both ways. And you want this seesaw to stabilize in the perfection range, but it just never happens. So I'm sure that Li Jiegong will reflect on this mistake, but at the same time, this is all I see in this mistake the spirit of Shanghai Dragons, the spirit of like aggression and threat and being threatening in all points in time. Not that I'm saying it's not a mistake, because it's definitely a mistake. But I also see in it like the context of like a great dive team. Yeah, any fight is winnable viewpoint for sure. Exactly. Didn't he have Shield Bash there? I don't think he would have escaped, honestly. Because I think he fucking whip shot the moment he saw the... Okay, let me see. He probably could have bashed out, I guess. He was just being over aggressive. That's why I said it was still a mistake, right? Hanbin used his out here. He could have, I guess, bashed out this way, I guess. Yeah, he could have bashed out this way. But he just fucking wanted to push, man. He's definitely a mistake. He could have just backed out this way and rally up, but... Yeah, he you can see his eye wasn't even looking at the fucking Sigma, like a lot of times if you know you might die to the fucking Sigma, you're looking at the Sigma, you're like kiting. The fucker didn't even look at the Sigma. You know where he's looking, right? He's only looking in front, so he tunnel vision. That's why he's a mistake. But yeah, you can see he's fucking tunnel visioning in front. He's like, I don't give a flying fuck about Hanbin. Hanbin is literally in the middle of his out. But Li Jiegong only has eyes for his fucking team, man. That's true love right there, guys. That's why you think, like, I want to help my team so fucking much. Yeah, it's a mistake, guys. Yeah, we're not gonna talk too much about this, but because it's obvious it's a mistake, and yet we see the silver lining in that. Love is crazy, man. Love is crazy. Just waiting for Primal to finish to rally. Yeah, I mean in pro level a lot of people try to milk as much out of it as possible. That's what I mean by the seesaw, right? You that's kind of like the perfect timing, but there's slightly too fast and slightly too slow. And most of the time, even for Overwatch League player where they are very close to the perfect timing, people will generally have a playstyle where they go slightly too fast or slightly too slow, right? And Lee Jong is trying to go slightly too slow for the rally, but he's slightly too aggressive for his thing, right? So this is Lee Jigong's personal seesaw. Thanks for the follow, Lovebot account 1. That's her interesting name. Okay, so oh shit, we should go back. The next person I want to look at is essentially, I want to look at Fearless because Fearless gets a nice fat shatter. Alright, so he goes back. He's trying to rush back into the fight. He starts pressuring. Lucio missed the boop. He's trying to pressure the Ana, right? So you can see they're trying to play merry-go-round with the Ryan. The Ana knows the Ryan is there, so he's playing over. He sees the Ryan, he plays over here. Ryan moves here, he plays to the right. So the chance of Ana and Lucio getting shattered is about as high as like the sky falling on us at this very instant, right? Lucio and Ana is just not gonna get shattered. But you know who's gonna get shattered? Lip. Because Lip, right, at this moment, he's Talent Vision, he's Tracer, right? So this is the Shanghai Dragon style. Ultra aggression and threat and pressure, but he has forgotten the unlikely is going to happen. He's gonna get shattered like a fucking Tracer. He's gonna get shattered by fucking Fearless. And he doesn't see it because he's like, the fuck, right? He spent all his time fighting in this little choke in his room. He's helping Jecse, he's helping Void, he's helping Fate who died to Sparkle, and he's just like, you know, he's just trying his best to be the best DPS that his team has ever seen. He's trying to be this really pressurizing DPS, and he has missed the most dangerous DPS of all, the Reinhardt, right? And this is probably one of the one time he's gonna die to a Reinhardt Shatter, like the one time he's gonna die to a Reinhardt Shatter for the last 3 years or something. Yeah, and of course Shanghai Dragons in typical shock style says, you know, like, we're not gonna give up on you, Lip. I'm gonna nano you, I'm gonna throw everything. I believe you can win, and of course the nano was thrown away. And this is Shanghai Dragon style. I mean, could we say it's a mistake? Like, definitely it's a mistake. Because Lip is not gonna fucking survive. Just even if you nano him, he's fucking 150 HP. If you give him like a 30 damage mitigation, no, you give him a 200% damage mitigation, the fucker only has 300 HP, right? 300 HP means he still dies to a charge. Doesn't matter how much damage mitigation, he still dies. So I mean, the Nano is definitely a bad play, but you can see Shanghai Dragon style. It's a bad play. And if Shanghai Dragon wasn't Shanghai Dragons with so many good plays, right, that would have just been lambasted. Sparkle's is gonna look at him and poop. Yeah, exactly. So Love is crazy, man. Love makes you do stupid things. So neither of Drathersfield and Dragons is a perfect team. But what they have, right, and they make mistakes all the time. People think Shock is a perfect team. No. Shock, okay, wait. Shock is actually still more perfect than Dragons, I would say. But, you know, the point is no team is perfect. You make mistakes all the time. But if your mistake is a cause, if your mistake is sort of a consequence of having a team play style, then it is kind of sort of okay. Krusty once said, right, and this is something that all coaches agree, that the worst team for a team to be is to be a team with no play style. When you have no play style, you are lost. You are a lost ship. You want to be the NYXL, the reactive playstyle. You want to be San Francisco Shock with its more methodical, never say die playstyle. You want to be Dragons, the ultra aggressive playstyle. You want to be Mayhem with the slower popcorn playstyle. You want a playstyle because that will enable you to not be the last 5 teams. Generally speaking, the last 5 teams in the Overwatch League generally sort of don't have a playstyle. They don't really have a teamwork. They're still making as many mistakes as any other team, maybe more. But it's not like Shanghai Dragons is a perfect team. The only thing is that the context of their mistake hides behind a consistent playstyle, which means that it's actually okay but not okay to have those mistakes. Do you think that the time for Florida was fair for their San Francisco match? It's not. It's of course not fair. But it being what it is, it makes it extremely hard to not make compromises at some occasion, I guess. Yeah, I mean, of course it's not fair. Yeah, but I don't know why. I assume Blizzard had no choice. I'm not sure. Yeah. The logistics behind Overwatch League in times of COVID is just extreme. It's just really, really hard, I think. Okay. And the two bottom teams in Season 1 Overwatch League are now the top few teams. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why Washington Justice is doing really well now is because they have a very consistent playstyle. Yeah, Supreme is a good coach, and he brings out the best in his players. He's not a strategy coach. He's kind of like a people's coach. So he gets the players to really, really work together really well. I miss Supreme. If there wasn't COVID, I probably would have flew over to Korea and spent some time with him and my assistant coach Wiz. Hopefully meet them and have a couple of meals. But COVID makes it really, really impossible. Like me and Supreme are like two opposite coach. I'm a more like strategy type coach, I guess. But Supreme is like a superhuman type coach. Like he's like, do you guys watch like Good Will Hunting? You know, like Robin Williams. I don't know if any of you guys watch Good Will Hunting. I'm gonna take a couple of like movies, right? Okay, let me just drag this. Good Will Hunting. Where the hell is it? I don't know whether you guys watched this movie. This one, the one with Robin Williams. And or the other one, what was it called? The other one with Robin Williams. Oh, Dead Poet Society. Right, and then you know that like the Robin Williams always played like this sort of mentor that like that sort of empathize and sort of really inspires. There are very few coaches like that, I would say, but Supreme is one of them. And because first of all, he does really well with Korean players. Like he does really, really well with Korean players. Because he's like the senpai, he's like the dad, he's essentially a father figure. Because he's 30 something, right? So he's actually a father figure for the Korean players. And his personality is like really, really, just really, really good for a Korean team. So when it comes to like a personable coach, Supreme is second to none. He's not a strategy coach though. Like he essentially does like close to zero strategy, like very little. He's not that's not his strength. But if you need to find a head coach for a Korean team, I think he's even better than Krusty in terms of like inspiring his whole team. So that's why Justice is doing well now, because they get to rally behind like a coach that is really, really, that can really be a mentor for all the players. And that's something I can't do, nor can anyone else do for a Korean team. I'm not Korean, I can't speak Korean, and that is just not me, right? And that's not 99% of the coaches out there. That's not Krusty either, actually. I think Krusty is essentially like the strategic head, and he's really, really good about strategy, and he's also sort of like the elder brother, but he's not a father figure. Elder brother, sure, maybe a mentor, a boss, yes, but as far as I know, Supreme is one of the few coaches that are like the Robin Williams of like the Overwatch League scene. So yeah, when I left Justice, you know, I recommended him. I heavily recommended him and discussed about, you know, when Justice goes full Korean, there can be no other options. And if Supreme takes over, it will be all good. And that's the problem about mixed team, I guess. It's hard to incorporate like a team style in a mixed team. not impossible, but just a lot harder. That's why you see so many Korean teams, Element Mystics fighting Shanghai Dragons, literally 2 Korean teams fighting each other, right, with Korean coaches. Okay. Supreme is a player development coach? Yeah, sort of. When Shock gets Supreme and Krusty together. I think Supreme, the thing is, right, Supreme is a head coach type development coach. Like, I know he can be a player development coach like he was in Hangzhou Spark, but I think Supreme fares best when he can cause all the shot. He can call all the shot. Because that's when his authority combined with his charisma really like kicks into high gear, I guess. So Krusty and Supreme is actually not that great an idea because both of them are very different kind of head coach, but both of them are sort of head coach type. Yeah. So it's just really hard. It's not like you stick all the best players together and become a good team, you know. It doesn't work that way. Meme machine, memeing me. Essentially your name. Hey, thanks for the follow, Noisy Don. So Future comes back with the coalescence and finally gets like a good coalescence going on. I don't even think they need a coalescence, but I think no. He needs a coalescence. He wants to cap the point as quickly as possible. They don't want any bullshit essentially. If they don't cap the point fast, the point gets fucking capped at like 80-90%, and it's too late. So capping a point fast, I think, is really vital. I think just use the fucking coalescence. I'm not gonna nitpick the coalescence. So he gets his first good coalescence. He's like, I'm finally doing something, guys. I know he's unlucky, guys. Don't worry, I'm not blaming him. I'm not gonna blame him for a while. So, where are we in the notes? Let's see. So we have done this part. We have done this page. We have 3 pages. We have done this page already, right? We are also done with this page. No, we are done up to here. We are done up to here. We are still left with this. What are you right? Phyllis comes back. Shatter not paying attention. So now we are into Shanghai Dragon losers, point swaps. They also use all the out. And we goes to the swaps, which I wrote in red. So we're coming to the end of the round, which took me fucking 2 hours. So for those that just joined the chat, we are literally, I have my notes in the Discord and Twitter. We have gone through the first page, we have gone through the second page, we are near the end of the second page. Essentially we are talking about the swaps, right? Why Li Jigong and Fleta swap to pharmacy. So fewer holds the point is 85% to 36. So I mean Dragon still got 85. So maybe they shouldn't have used the coalescence after all. They'll try to cap the point as quickly as possible, but I mean it was still they still can't lose the point. They essentially have no chances left, no lives left. But I guess the good thing is that Dragons have no ultimates, right? At hand. They're not close to the nano, which is the most important out. Fuel is gonna swap. Doha swaps. We're gonna take a look at some of the swaps. Doha swaps to Sombra because Mei is fucking useless. I mean he got a good freeze, but essentially he spends like 80-90% useless. I mean it's not that he's bad Mei player, it's just the matchup is just bad. So he swaps to Sombra, which will do a lot better against Dragon. And Dragon swaps to Pharmacy, which is also a good swap against Fuel Kong. Hanbing also swaps from Sigma to Diva, which is better against Dive. So we see swaps on both sides, essentially. And this is essentially a more even fight between Fuel and Dragon. The compositions are a little bit more even. I would say it favors... if you don't look at the percentage, I would say it favors Fuel. I actually think it favors Fuel. But if you look at 85% to 36%, it favors her Dragons, of course. But because Pharmacy... It's hard to make Pharmacy work against... It's hard to make Pharmacy work. Yeah, in Koth. It's not that it's useless, but... It's hard. Like, it's quite hard to get value sometimes. After Season 1, Pharmacy was not seen all the time. It was only seen in like specific cases. And there are some teams that don't even feel that pharmacy is a counter. Because you sacrifice a lot. You lose the brick, you lose the Zen, and you trade for Mercy, and the flex potential is also really, really bad. So you just don't really see pharmacy, because when you switch to pharmacy, you kind of need the all-in pharmacy. And a lot of teams value the flexibility and the more general purposeness of other team, as opposed to having a pharmacy that you kind of have to pocket an all-in on. So you really haven't really seen a lot of pharmacy more than 10-20% of the time in the last 1-2 years. So Dragon's going to play pharmacy. They do have Flayta, which is a great pharmacy. Lee Jigong is going to swap to Mercy. He has used up Rally. It's unlikely that he'll get Rally anytime soon. And of course he has to retake the point as Brick, which is also really, really hard. So he's going to join Flayta as pharmacy. And they're going to play out in the sky. Ben Jesus, good night. Yeah, good night, man. Meme machine. You gotta sleep 5 AM. Can I DM you the back? Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Good night. Jonga also in Singapore, streaming at 5 AM. Yeah, I'm streaming for NA, man. This is NA time. Yeah. Okay. So the poke continues. Let's watch from Flayta. Poke. It's kind of nice to watch Farah. Because Farah is almost never in any danger against this comp, so yeah, it's actually never in any danger, so yeah. So it's kind of nice to watch because you can just zone out and watch some Farah gameplay. But yeah, but I guess we have to go back to what's important, which is Doha feeding his ass off. So let's go back to Doha, who is really not having a great game right now. He gets the hack on Winston. And I should go back a little bit more. So he switched from Mei to Sombra, right? And Doha is known as a really good Sombra. And Doha's style is essentially he's a very fast EMP farmer because he really min maxes when he appears and everything. But the problem is, and this is a pretty severe problem. He is not playing in dive. This is death ball, which means that he doesn't really have a Brigitte to pocket him, and he doesn't have a Discord op as well. So right now when he appears, right, I'll show you where his translocator is. Actually, where is his fucking translocator? So he's somewhere here. Okay, never mind. We'll just watch him first. Oh, we see it. It's. Actually, where the fuck is it? What the okay, you know what? We will just find out when he uses it. Oh, it's all the way at the back. We see it's somewhere here. I don't know why I can't see it. I think it's here. We found it. It's here. Yeah, okay, so he hide it all the way at the back. He's really good at doing that. He hacks the Winston and he goes. Right, but that is a problem. Can you see someone that might find the translocator accidentally? Someone that might accidentally find the translocator. Remember, he doesn't have a Zen op or a brick pack. So he's actually very vulnerable. He doesn't. I mean, I don't know whether he knows this, but he's actually really, really vulnerable because he's playing Sombra in Death Ball, but he's not playing Sombra. He's not playing with his team, right? So the ball part of Death Ball, he's not really executing that part. He's playing alone, like Dive. So yeah. So what's gonna happen is, I mean, sure. I mean, maybe Farah can find it. That's 1%. But I mean, for Farah to see it, she has to fly all the way. Like you can see, it's actually blocked from many angles, right? Farah kind of floats here. Farah has to like fly here to see it. But the more likely person to see it is actually Leap right here, who is flanking, and Leap is just doing his tracer thing because he's the tracer, right? So he's playing away from his teammates and he's looking for the translocator. He sees the Sombra. He doesn't even find the fucking translocator, but he sees the Sombra right here. And if you take a look, right, this is Doha feeding. This position is actually Doha feeding. Because remember what we talked about for Death Ball. For those who joined us in the start of the stream, I talked about how Death Ball likes to play over here, or Death Ball likes to play over here, right? Remember? I said Death Ball likes to play over here or over here. Death Ball don't like to play over here. I'm gonna use red. Death Ball doesn't like to play over here. It doesn't do anything. It gives up space in 1, and it doesn't turtle in 2. So if this is attack and this is defense, let's put attack, choke, and this defense. 3 does nothing. It doesn't attack, it doesn't even hold a point. But Sombra, he puts his translocator in a sort of a way where generally the Ana would play. Because if you're playing dive, right, a lot of times the Ana would play here. The Ana, Zen, Brick, they will play here. So putting a translocator here was perfect. It would be perfectly fine. So Doha put the translocator there. I don't know if he forgot that he was not playing in dive, or it was just like a muscle memory, or he just didn't know the Tracer were actually going to flank, which is unlikely because you know the Tracer's going to flank. It's a fucking Tracer, man. Like, this is probably one of the most common paths that Tracer takes. This is probably one of the most common paths that Tracer takes in the dive comp. So Doha is essentially going to feed his ass off because Lip is of course going to jump at the opportunity. There's no Zen, there's no Discord Op, there's no Rally. So Doha is going to die to Overwatch League level Tracer. So this is just Doha feeding again, right? Yeah, this is why I thought that Doha swapped. There was two things. I thought that either Doha has never really played Sombra in this map against dive, hence either he has just never swapped and just stayed on Mei for 99% of all his scrims, or 2, they just simply never played a lot of dive. Like, a lot of teams just didn't play dive, so he didn't get the chance to practice Sombra in a death ball until they fought dragons. I was thinking either one of the other two. Because Doha is a good Sombra. This was more of like the lack of experience or the lack of practice, as opposed to like just being a bad Sombra. Like he kind of let us, like, he just slipped his mind, you know. So he kind of fed again. So he's just really not having a good game. And yeah, and Fio's gonna lose one member again even before the fight even start. Did he put it back since he was trying to get back fast since the last fight wasn't done? It's a crazy mistake. It's a crazy mistake. I mean, yeah, it's just a crazy mistake. Essentially, if you play Sombra in a death ball, you don't even want to translocate. You kind of just want to play with your Moira and Ryan at all times. Because no matter where you translocate, right, you are going to be isolated from the team. So the only way for you to stay safe is always rotate with your team. So you play Sombra like a Mei. You play Sombra like a Symmetra. You stay with your team at all times. And you use translocate as little as possible. But obviously he didn't do that, and he fed and died. Frontline Sombra, he's kind of like a flanking Sombra, but he's not supposed to flank. Because you're playing against dive, right? The enemy has like multiple flankers, like Diva and Winston and Tracer. You're not gonna survive. You kind of just need to play with your team as Death Ball. You are Death Ball. So Doha's gonna die, and this is quite critical because Doha already has 63% ultimate. So Doha dying here is kind of like throwing away more ultimate, I guess. And also, Fuel is like, Fielder got picked just now, and then we lost. But it's okay, you know, we still got this. And they make this crazy play, Sparkle make this crazy play, Fierce make this crazy play, and not 30 seconds later, yeah, it's not even been 30, like, not even been 1 minute, Doha feeds. So it goes like Fielder feeds and then Doha feeds. And of course, I mean, we could argue it's reasonable or whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, someone got picked. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, someone got picked. Someone who was not supposed to get picked got picked. We could say Void got a crazy bomb. But if I was the main tank here, it's pretty frustrating, you know, like if I was Sparkle or Fear, it's like, the fuck, we haven't even got a fight, man, guys. You guys gotta stop dying, that sort of stuff. But so poke, Doha dies, and I mean, Fear does what they do best. It's turtle. Essentially, I mean, they're Death Ball. That sounds like an insult. I said they're doing what they do best, so that sounds like an insult. I'm not insulting them. That's essentially what they need to do. They need to turtle. So they turtle, they lose Doha. It's not a total loss yet because, you know, Sparkle, it wasn't that Sparkle that died, so they totally have ultimate. They totally have a chance to win. They have damage, and the best thing is Sparkle still has his ult. So, and this is like, okay, I want you guys to watch like Fate. We're gonna watch 2-person POE. We're gonna watch Fate, and then we're gonna watch Sparkle. So it's very obvious what Dragon's gonna do next. They always do this thing, right? He goes in with a Primal. He pushes. He tries to push Fuel around and focus fire one guy, or he tries to push Fuel through the choke, and then they hold the choke. So we know that Fate's gonna get his Primal soon. So we should look at Fate. So Fate, he gets his Primal, right? He primals. He's trying to push the Lucio. He's trying to push the Lucio towards his teammates, and he pushes Jecse. You can see Jecse is kind of like isolated, but that's why Jecse is going to Sound Barrier to protect. So essentially, he primals, he forces out Sound Barrier, which is a great play, and unfortunately, Fearless died again. So, you know, Fearless has been a perfect player all game. Like, he has not made one single fucking mistake. The guy is like essentially has been playing perfectly. He manages his shield, he gets pulse bomb, really couldn't have done anything there, and he dies, and it's not his fault, right? We can't even say Fiddler is a bad player. He's essentially playing flawlessly all game. So he dies, but to no fault his own, and now he gets the Primal, and he's trying to push Jecse. He forces the sound barrier, and Fate is thinking, my god, I'm such a good fucking Winston. And he makes the classic diamond mistake of pushing the Reaper towards his teammate. And I'm going to show you from what it looked like from Sparkle POV, because this is going to give Fewer an advantage, right? Even though Shanghai Dragons is a 6v5, Fewer's going to win. And this is actually... I don't really have an excuse for Dragon here. I think this is just like a really bad mistake from Fate. And I think Fate is still a good Winston, but maybe I can say that he's not the most consistent Winston. I think his peak is extremely high. Like he's when he's popping off, he's playing really, really well. But I would say, and this might be controversial, I would say he's not a top 3 Winston. Maybe not even the top 5 Winston. Maybe a top 7 Winston, maybe. I mean, I guess you could argue he's... No. Maybe he's like 5th place Winston. It's like he's really on the line. Because... Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. So he goes in the primals. We'll look at Sparkle POV. So Sparkle is like, we have lost this game. I hate my life. Why am I a fucking repo? I hate playing repo. I don't know, man. And he's like looking, I see the Anna, he's trying to make his own way, and he gets booped by the Winston, which he just pressed the button straight away. Like, Sparkle didn't even wait. He's like, oh, thanks. He's like, thanks whatever higher powered deity that this monkey did an absolutely stupid play. He comes back and boops, and he literally didn't even give a shit, he just outs. And Void is actually gonna miss his defensive matrix, because Void is surprised. He's like, what the fuck? He didn't expect Sparkle to suddenly blink, that's essentially the blink distance. It's actually Reaper literally, the most immobile DPS literally blinked, and Void was like, what the fuck? Am I playing Kovacs or something? So he's like, he's shooting, he's like pressuring, and he's like, he gets booped, and he goes like, what the fuck? You see, he couldn't even get the defensive matrix on Sparkle before Sparkle killed 2 people. Because he was surprised, right? Void didn't expect Fate to literally push Sparkle, and he could have pushed Sparkle anywhere, right? Like, literally pushing here or pushing here would have been like literally better. He pushed Sparkle in the one single direction, in the one single cone that he should not push. It's actually towards the Pharah and the Mercy. That was, he couldn't have done it better. I would say that he could not have done it better. Sure, right? Look, he could not have done it with battle timing. He could not have done it with a battle timing. He literally could not have done it with a battle timing. He literally could have done it with a battle timing. This was choreography in motion, but the bad kind. The kind where it's like a car accident, and then the car... It's supposed to swerve and miss the guy by like 1 cm, but instead of missing the guy 1 cm, he hits the guy, BAM! Straight on. Like one of those like... Just really one of those events you never want to watch, right? And yeah, he hits the one direction he shouldn't. And not only that, right? He fucked over Void as well, because of the way he booped the Reaper. Void was like taken aback, right? If he booped the Reaper from like a further distance, Void could have at least tracked defensive matrix and tracked the Reaper perfectly, because this is actually an easy track. But he pushed in so suddenly, and at such a hard to predict angle. Void was flicking like some CS Counter-Strike player. He's like flicking 180, almost 180 degree, trying to defensive matrix against the poor Sparkle. He's like, what the fuck? And then he tried to defend it, and he failed. And Sparkle not only killed the Mercy, he killed the Pharah, so he got a double kill. It is extremely rare to get a double kill in as a Reaper. Actually, it is extremely rare, especially like so many years. We are in the 3rd year of Overwatch League. Was he maybe trying to push the Reaper to fill the location? No, I don't think he was even trying to push the Reaper at all. When I was looking at Fate, I think he was just trying to... I don't even know. Like, Fate... Okay, let me see. I think he simply didn't see. I think it was just a straight up mistake. I don't think there was any intention. I know he was trying to push Jecse. That one I saw. Right? You can see, if I slow it down, you can see he's tracking Jecse. he's looking at Jecse generally. So he's pushing Jecse through. He's pushing Jecse through, and he isolates Jecse, and at this point in time, he's like, okay, they have sound barrier, I can't really do anything. So he goes back in, and he sees Jecse again, right? And I suspect he's trying to go for Jecse. Right? He's obviously trying to go for Jecse, but in the point of getting Jecse, because, I mean, there's no other guys he can go for, like, I mean, it's a support, right? So he goes for the support. But in the point of going for Jecse, which you can see, he actually boots Sparkle to the left. If you ask me, I think he should have just not gone for Jecse. Like, it's more important to not hit the Reaper than it is to isolate the Lucio. You know what I mean? Like, rather he just stand still and just like boop and like boop once, and it's like, where's the fucking Reaper? Where's the fucking Reaper? And try to boop the Reaper away from his team, then like keep going, because he's tunnel visioning for the Lucio. So, I mean, there is some merit to saying that, you know, Fate isn't the best Winston alive, and he's making not just mistake but major mistake, because this is gonna fuck Dragon, essentially. Yeah, I mean he has good primal mechanics. It's obvious he's controlling the Lucio quite well. He's going for Lucio with every single jump pack, but yeah, he's tunnel visioning, which is very, 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 it's just not good for main tank. So Sparkle's gonna kill everyone. Furious gonna coalescence again, and even when Doha threw the game, right, with the translocator, they're still gonna get another chance to win. And you know, Dragons is at this point in time, Dragons is panicking. It's like, what the fuck? We just threw a few games in a row. We threw the first game, we threw the second fight, then Doha threw it again. So it's actually, you know, they're not playing like insanely badly, but individual players are, yeah, I mean, they're not like doing insanely badly, right? Individual players are making mistakes like Fate, right? And of course, Fuel is also making insane plays from Sparkle and Jecse. So it's not like Dragon is playing really badly, but specific players in Fuel is playing out of their mind. So Dragons must be getting a little bit frustrated. It's still very winnable, but maybe a little bit frustrated. And the worst thing is, Fuel is at 95%, right? 92%. And they no longer have the ultimates that's important to them. They don't have Primal Rage, which is really important for Fate to survive against the wombo combo dangerous duo of Reaper and Sombra. And neither does he have Nano either. So, you know, this Winston is just not feeling, Fate is just probably not feeling really, really good about his chance of survival. And not only that, Fuel also has EMP. So honestly, this is Fuel's fight to lose. Right? Fuel should win this. They have EMP, they have Shatter. They should be able to kill at least the Winston with the EMP. So, I mean, I don't know whether you guys remember what happened, but Fuel's gonna lose. So essentially, whichever team that looks to be the favorite always gets upsetted with a stupid mistake. So we're gonna look at Doha. He's setting up for his EMP, so he goes 3, 2, 1, his translocator get destroyed. But you know, he's playing with his team now. If you look at Doha, right, Doha is not playing stupidly. He's not fucking flanking 24/7 and playing. His translocator gets destroyed, but he gets the EMP down, right? He doesn't die. He's playing with his team. Essentially, he's playing like Symmetra. He's essentially playing exactly the same as Symmetra, but he's not playing so dangerously, right? He just needs to make sure he doesn't get translocated. So at this point in time, Doha goes for the. So you can see, Doha is still sort of playing with his team, right? And Doha is trying to go for Izaki, and it's really close, and he dies to Void. And this is Void is just being an absolute menace. His bomb has saved Dragon so many fucking times in the entire series. It's not even funny anymore. Like, give this man a fucking $1 million salary. Void has saved them once again. So Void sees Fuel, and he's like, you know, Fate has died, right? Fate literally just fucking died, and it's not even, this time it's not Fate fault because they have EMP, so Fate couldn't have done anything, right? The previous fight, sure, it's Fate fault. Fate's fucking the fuck out, but you know, this time Fate died, not his fault. EMP was used, he's dead. So Void is like, you know, the only way for Dragons to win this fight now, the only way, they can't even fucking Rocket Barrage, because you're trying to Rocket Barrage against a team that has Diva, and you can't even Rocket Barrage. Who are you going to Rocket Barrage? You Rocket Barrage the Ryan has Shield, they have Defensive Matrix. You can't Rocket Barrage the Reaper has Wraith. You can't Rocket Barrage the Sombra because that's fucking idiotic. So essentially, you can't Rocket Barrage anyone. So Faracom is just, you know, it's a bit sketchy, right? It doesn't really counter. It doesn't get countered, but it doesn't really counter. It's hard to win with Faracom as well. It's kind of like a Hail Mary. So Void I mean, the only one that can carry this fight right now is Void. Right? So Shanghai Dragon's probably like, fucking Void, please. For the love of God, right? Get your sick-ass bomb that managed to kill Fielders as well. And, you know, Void says, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, sure, why not, right? So he shoots this bomb right, this fucking sexy-ass fucking bomb, right in the middle. And you know who's gonna get, right? You know who's the most unlucky fucker in this entire fight? Doha is just not having a great time, and Doha has a tendency to tunnel vision. I think you guys can sort of see that. And it goes straight through, and it lands right here. And it's not gonna, and Doha is still like lacering. Doha is like, okay, you know, I fucked up a couple of times, I died a couple of times, you know, I'm not doing so well, but I'm gonna kill Izayaki. Right here, right now. I still have 11 bullets in my machine gun. 11 out of 60. That's more than enough to kill Izaki, who has like what? Less than 50 HP, 40 HP, 11 bullets, 39 HP on Izaki. Easy. This is not Diamond. I you know, he has the tracking powers of a fucking Overwatch League player. Izaki's dead. You know, Izaki is just living in the next part. Right, Void's gonna save the day again. You know, what Shanghai Dragons need to do is they need to look at this. He hits Doha. I'm gonna slow it down even more. He hits Doha, kills Doha, and it kills Jecse at the same time. So you gotta give the man a raise. Like, what the fuck? Look at this. It's the same bomb that killed Fielder just now. It's the kind of like, it peeks over the edge just a little bit. I think it was a set bomb. Yeah, but I can't be sure. Because Void is also a very, very strong instinctive player. Like, he can get that kind of bomb even when it's not a set bomb. When I saw him play and I coached him in LA Gladiators. So he's just an insane fucking diva.